Hospital port as pride and dignity, stop the New World Order, welcome to HPANWO TV, and welcome to this, the 26th in my series of comments reply videos. Now, the comments reply videos basically are what they say they are videos, but I reply to your comments. And the reason I do that, there's several reasons why I make these videos. Firstly, when people write comments, I don't have time to reply to them all because I get so many. I feel obliged to reply because you guys take the time to write comments, and some of the comments are very long, they're very detailed, and a lot of thought goes into them, and I feel I owe it to you, the viewer, to reply to what you said. But I don't have time. I can't reply to every comment I have. I'd spend a couple of hours a day on it. It's just not possible. So I do these comments reply videos of every so often, just every couple of months, or when I ever have so many comments and videos. So you'd get a reply to your comments. Now, you may have noticed, if you watch regularly, you'll know definitely that my comments reply videos are some of the longest videos I do. In fact, I've had a couple that stretch for over 9 hours. And you may think to yourself, Ben, I only want one reply to one comment on one video. I'm not going to watch a 9-hour video just to hear you say a little bit of a reply to just one little comment I make. Well, guess what? You don't have to do that. You don't have to watch all 9 hours of the video. What happens is, under the comment I'm replying to, I put a little reply which says, "Thank you for your comment. It'll be responded to in a particular time period of the upcoming video." I've tried doing half-hour segments. I've decided to do just 1-hour segments, which reminds me, I'm going to start my stopwatch, which it's only a couple of minutes, doesn't matter. And it just says, it just basically says, "Thank you for the comment. It'll be answered in approximately within the first hour of the upcoming comments reply video, or second or third, or anything like that." So that's how it works. So the longest time period you'll have to watch, the longest you will have to watch to get a reply to your comment is just is 1 hour. 1 hour only is all you're going to have to watch. That's not too bad, is it? That's not too bad. So there you go. Oh, hang on, what's happening now? Sorry, it's I've got a little problem on the internet. So and I know that some of you actually watch it all the way through anyway. I know there's several viewers who watch the whole thing. They actually enjoy watching the whole thing, and it's for them, it's a part of the video thing that I do. So for those people, it doesn't really matter, does it? So let us begin. So, Love Dove, this is the first video, this is the first comment I have after my last comments reply video, which is by someone called Lundove. I said Love Dove. Lundove. Lundove said, "It's a must to subscribe." You're getting a love heart for that, Lundove. So Love Dove, it is Love Dove. So thank you very much, Lundove. I'm really pleased you enjoy watching, so much appreciated to you for that. Okay, so I just got to wait for the page. So the page is actually a little bit slow because I've got so many comments, it's like such a big page that it's actually a bit slow to respond sometimes. So just give me a moment, and I'll just let it catch up. And my next comment is by TK, and it's on "Am I a MGTOW?" And it says, "I heard you mention deep underground military bases in this video, and I wondered if you mean like the one at Peasmore." I just put the comments reply video thing in. There we go. So I watched your videos as you always suggest, and all I saw was you walking around and talking. Nothing to do with any deep underground military base was in evidence during the 12+ hours of your videos. So I'm wondering why you would worry telling a future girlfriend about deep underground military bases when, according to your own evidence, there doesn't seem to be one, at least not at Peasmore. I just think before worrying about how you mention to a mythical future girlfriend information about a mythical deep underground military base, it might be best actually to find one, both a base and a girlfriend, that is. Then cross that bridge when you get to it. Touche, TK, touche. Yeah, I've wondered what you were doing going on about military bases on this particular video, and then now I realise the point you're making. It's true. I mean, I did my research project, the Peasmore series of videos that I did was actually It was more kind of it was an investigation to see if I could find evidence of the bases there, and I did 4 videos. They were 12-hour plus. Yeah, I know. In my investigation, now I actually do believe I found some evidence, and if you, especially the second one where I go to Harwell, but also where I'm going around with another blonde. So that I think does count as that does count, I think, as a proper investigation. Yeah, I didn't find some big stone doorway with lorries driving in and out, and aliens coming in and out. Or I didn't find that. I admit that. But if I am in the company on a date or something, and I have to like break the ice and explain and come clean about who I am, that is one of the things. That's one of the things that will come up. It's one of the things that will come up, and I will talk about what I found, and I'll be honest about what I found. And you're right. You're partly right. I didn't find a lot of evidence. I did find some, but there's more to it than that. I mean, look at Richard Sauder. I mean, you've watched those videos. You'll see my references to Richard Sauder and to other people, and you'll know that it's not just about Peasman. It's about others as well. And yeah, that is a bridge I'll have to cross. Jimmy James says on reply to comments 25 part 1, love this brother, the mark of a true gentleman. Thank you, Jimmy, much appreciated. You're a gentleman and a scholar, sir. I'm glad you enjoy these videos. I do. I know you're one of the people who watch them all the way through too, so really pleased you do. I'm really glad people watch them all the way through, because obviously you find them entertaining, most of you. Okay, same video. Jack Parker says, just thought of something rather funny. The more successful one becomes in this business, the more impossible it would be to read the comments. There could be millions of them in each video. Also impossible for them to have been read by anyone. It would be impossible to communicate other than the video itself to disseminate a message. We know that's true, Jack, because if you like, I mean, I'm in terms of my YouTube popularity and my reach, I'm sort of middle of the range. I'm sort of like, I'm quite well known, but I'm not like Sargon of Akkad, for example, or PewDiePie. I mean, there's no way if PewDiePie, obviously he has like 1 million subscribers, so I've got about 7,000. If PewDiePie made a video like this, he wouldn't live long enough to complete just one comments reply video. So he physically cannot reply to all his comments. I think when it comes to these sorts of, when it comes to commenting on videos of YouTubers that popular, and I do sometimes, I often put comments on Sargon's videos. You know that Sargon will probably not read them, or he may not even see them. He certainly won't reply to them. But it's more like for other people to see. I think that's it's more like a, and I know some of you guys actually have conversations amongst yourselves rather than address me in your comments or in the comments boxes of my videos, which is fine by me, absolutely fine. On the same video, Jack also says, and reply to comments videos of this ultimate successful site, if it were functioning, would take possibly a year of straight talking to respond to the comments with some breaks, of course. Well, yeah, exactly, as I've just said, Jack. Yeah. I'm not at that point. I'm not at the point. I mean, I'm not popular enough. I probably won't be as popular as those guys ever, simply because the subject matter I'm well aware of the milieu that I'm in. I don't specialise enough in any particular subject to become very well known in any particular field. So, general conspiracy theory, paranormal, UFO. That's me, which means I probably don't make enough videos for people interested in any specific speciality to keep them hooked on my channel for long enough. At the same time, I'm very popular with people who, like myself, have a very broad church attitude towards this kind of thing. And I understand that the UFOs is connected with the ghosts, and the ghosts are connected with the conspiracies for 9/11 and stuff like that. It's all connected. Yeah, it's a conspiracy. Yeah. Jack Parker says on the same video, and also the ultimate site would make it clear why it's futile to chase trolls. Best to ignore them. When it comes to trolls, Jack, my policy is twofold. Firstly, there are some serious trolls. I mean really bad trolls who are blocked. They're all blocked. There's only a few of those, but they are blocked. There are other people you could describe as trolls. I know, and I allow them to post basically because they're quite amusing. I have fun with them. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a big ugly ex-hospital porter. I've got quite a big thick skin. And I have a laugh with some of them. I have a laugh with some of these people, as I'm going to today. Right, this is Bailiffs Out of the Blue, an old video, and this is Mr. Boyder. Mr. Boyder. This is what's going on. Hang on, let me just put the reply thing in. This is what's going on. The so-called it's all capital. It's difficult to read what people are saying when it's all capital letters and no punctuation marks. Hang on. This is what's going on. The so-called police facilitating these clowns over civil debt when they are clearly not allowed. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's quite frustrating. For example, old Tom, what's his name, having his house repossessed. Do you remember the Iron Tom thing? That was upsetting to see the police assisting the bailiffs with that. It really was. Then ignoring Asian rape gangs and telling the girls it was a lifestyle choice. Can you believe that? Now I know, Mr. Boyder, it's absolutely horrific that it's only now being revealed, and this is just one of the many things that are coming out. It's like Savile and Epstein. It's like this year of clear vision. It's this 2016 effect. But now it's suddenly coming out about the massive numbers of organised child abuse. Firstly within the establishment, but also within the Asian community. And that it's been good. It's not something that suddenly appeared and they started doing something about it. This case is going back to the early 70s. Of this happening. That is where gangs of men, usually Muslim Asians, primarily, will basically they'll basically pretend to be friends with young girls, and usually white girls, sometimes black, sometimes Sikh and Hindu, and they'll basically prostitute them. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. That's the thing that radicalised, Tommy Robinson. I know I have a lot of problems with Tommy Robinson. I have a lot of disagreements. But this is the thing that really got him going into. He made the mistakes he did, but I think he is motivated by a sense of outrage at that, quite rightly. Now, this doesn't justify, incidentally, turning against every Asian or Muslim person and blaming them or showing hostility or prejudice to them, because it's not every single one of them. It is a large proportion, but it's not everyone. And I mean, I live with two Muslims, and they're absolutely great guys. I don't have a problem with them. So, as I said, keep your head on, keep your head straight when you're dealing with this. But it does have to be dealt with. It has to be addressed. Mr. Boyder says on the same video: corrupt government, police, state, public services totally knackered. What a mess this country is in. Wake up, people. The world needs renegades to put a stop to this mass corruption. Yes, indeed, Mr. Boyder. And the word renegade, you use the word renegade, which is a good word to use. It's actually a term that David Icke is now using for people who are free thinkers, and indeed it's the title of his new film, which of course I've been to see, and I've reviewed it on HPANWO TV. Same video, Mr. Boyder again. Don't pay it, and he's referring to my debt. I think this is these threatening letters I got from the bailiffs. Don't pay it because they are just like Moorcroft. Yeah, they're all the same. These different companies are all the same. They keep selling. The thing is, what's ironic is that they do it. It's actually an industry, because your debt becomes a credit bond, and it could be floated on the bloody stock market. And these people are basically selling it on. They're selling your debt and making a profit on it. It's incredible. It's an economic absurdity, but it's people do it. In fact, when it came to my mobile phone bill, I did offer to pay it. I offered to pay it to my original Telefonica O2 account, and they said, "Oh no, you can't do that now." And I'm like, "Why not?" "Oh no, it's a credit bond now. You don't want you dissolving it. It's not worth anything." Oh, bloody idiots! Anyway, he says Mr. Boyder carries on. The Milky Bar Kid has more authority, pal. Yeah. Just send it back with no contract. You've written all over it, and Never admit to being the person in the letter. Joined her. You are not legally obliged in any way under common law, civil law, fact. That's true. Absolutely. And do you know what? I haven't heard from them for like a couple of years now, so I think they've given up on me. They're not getting the bloody debt. They're not getting their debt back anyway. They're not getting it back. It's well, they're not. They're not going to. They're not going to. I don't think they're trading my credit bond anymore. Okay. This is on the same video. Patrick Patel. Hi, Patrick. Ben, to be fair, hard-working people like yourself make me appreciate living in this life. Oh, you are a very lovely, kind guy who lights up this normally colourless and crappy world. I really love all the stuff you talk about, man. You're definitely an oracle and a noble warrior. Well, thank you, Patrick. That's really great. You're getting a love heart for that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You're a good. Thanks. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you like what I do, and it makes you feel that way. It really does. So you're very welcome, Pat. Patrick says here, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'll say you're welcome. I'll do a little, just brief written replies are all right. You're welcome. Incidentally, I was going to do this video a couple of days ago, actually. That's Patrick Patel there. I was going to do this video a couple of days ago, and I couldn't because of internet problems. Now I've got the bloody internet problems fixed, thankfully. Alright. Is that going to work? Should do. Right, program. Reply to comments 25, part 1 of 2. Proselytizing Orthodox Pentecostal trans rabbit. Oh, thank goodness you showed up, rabbit. I couldn't have waited another moment without you. Silly Ben. Anyone can check out Kevin Annett's. Oh, hang on. Reply. Anyone can check out Kevin Annett's YouTube channel to see for themselves. Let me just paste in that. He's proclaiming the birth of the Republic of Kanata, and he's issuing a summons to Pope Francis to appear before his imaginary international common law court of justice. And it is nuts, as anyone can clearly see, which kind of leads me to believe that, like the majority of flat earthers, you don't actually believe anything you say. Alright, like the majority. Alright, not saying I'm a flat earther, just like the majority of flat earthers. Okay, I do believe what I say. Pentecostal whatever, Pentecostal Orthodox, proselytizing Orthodox Pentecostal trans rabbit. That's the best name of anyone who commented. He really is, yeah, on this on my channel. I'm familiar with the videos that you have posted links here to. I'm also familiar with all the arguments you make about Kevin Annett, and I suggest you check out HPANWO Radio. Well, firstly, check out my interview with Kevin, which is on my. It's actually on my channel. It's actually the only interview. It's actually the only live lecture Kevin ever managed to give in Britain, and I was there to film it, luckily. So check that out. Check out his Hidden from History video and his other things he's made, and also check out his interviews with me on HPANWO Radio, where he addresses these points. Rabbit, there's a lot of lies been told about Kevin by some really nasty trolls. People, not the kind of people who I would say are fun trolls. Really, really vicious trolls, and they need to be addressed. And I do address them. I address that point in my particular videos. Okay, the page is frozen again. It does that every so often. Right, anyway, this is reply to comments 25 part 2 of 2, and this is Sonia White, who says, we are not allowed any continuity, Ben. I don't know. Well, are you talking about the comments? Well, Sonia, this is the best I can do, honestly. I don't know what else you want me to do. I have thousands of comments to answer. I'm trying to answer. I mean, getting into conversations is a bit difficult, you understand? Okay, and at the moment its page is running a bit slow, but it's coming up there. I actually tried to do this when my internet wasn't working, and it was just like an absolute nightmare. It was just an absolute waste of time. But if any problems, I'll just simply refresh the page. The internet is kind of like it is going again now, which is something. I'm just trying to. Here we go. Paste. There we go. And paste. And it is actually working. Come on, paste. Okay, hopefully that'll work. And if it starts getting sluggish, I'll take a little break and refresh it. I'm going to take regular breaks during the course of this particular video anyway, because it's going to be a long video. And what's happening now? Oh. And reply. Somehow, for some reason, another. Oh, Rabbit's channel has just opened. Oh god, I don't know what he's going on about here. Oh, Rabbit's channel is weird. Oh no, it's because of the slowness of the thing. Anyway, we have a conversation. First conversation coming up, and it's Israel Diego Rivera 2 Genius 2, and this particular person has several different names and posts from several different accounts, but I know who they are. They are obsessed with the British Bigfoot, and as you'll find out, this is in reply to comments part 2 of 2, the last one. Jeremy Corbyn is Britain's only hope to stop the total Zionist New World Order take over the UK. All right, now, that was over 2 months ago that Diego Rivera put that there. Diego Rivera, I'm sure I know you've been in the chat boxes of my live streams I've done on the election, and we've already discussed this since when more information has come to light. No doubt you put some comments in those videos too, which I'll be coming to shortly. And 69 Phuket, hello Phuket, how are you? Says underneath, I get it, but he's too nice and hasn't adapted. He needs new scriptwriters. He cannot compete with Bojo. Correct, and he didn't. Stephen Truthseeker, hi Stephen. Corbyn and the rest are usable puppets. Clearly, there's no change in anything. Well, Stephen, apart from Boris Johnson, yes, but Boris Johnson's different, as I have said. Stephen says as well, I agree, but at least Corbyn has the Zionist media against him. Well, he does actually. This for me is a reason why I disagree with Diego Rivera, which is that everything revolves around Israel. Israel is the centre of everything. It's not. It's not. It's an important node on the web, but it's not the centre of the web. Rabbit says, is this a Nazi convention? Is this a Nazi convention? Oh, Rabbit, don't talk ridiculous. Are you now saying that if you vote against Jeremy Corbyn, you're a Nazi? Well, most of the people in this country are Nazis then, aren't they? And Diego Rivera says underneath, Trans Rabbit Israel are Nazis. And Rabbit says underneath, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure if that were true, you would be their biggest fan. Ooh! Wow! Fur is flying here. Alright. And same video. No, this is part 1. Sorry, part 1 of 2 of the last comments reply video. Diego Rivera says, Corbyn is the only man that can stop Rothschild's New World Order Brexit. Vote Corbyn to stop the Zionist New World Order. Okay, well, of course, I don't want to repeat things I've said, not only things I've said before, Diego Rivera, but things I'm going to have to say again, because you put similar comments to this on all my videos to do with the general election, haven't you? So, I mean, we'll leave it there. I mean, the Rothschild thing about the Rothschilds is, when you start talking about the Rothschilds, you start to make sense. Because the Rothschilds are major power brokers in the world within the Illuminati structure. And I know it's not because they're Jews, it's not because of that. It's entirely separate. I've done an entire video about that. Hugo Rune, hello Hugo, says on reply to comments 25 part 2 of 2. Nice one, Ben. Which will happen first, ET disclosure or Brexit? Love that one. Thanks Hugo. I'll give you a love heart for that actually. That's a great question. And the answer is it looks like it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be Brexit now. Now, when I actually made this video, it wasn't so certain. But at the time I record this, it's less than 2 weeks till Brexit. And yes, I will be in London, and I will be making a video. So Brexit will probably come first. I mean, there's still a chance. I mean, Brexit Day is actually Friday. So I wonder if we could have disclosure the same day. Because Steve Bassett always said it would be on a Friday, didn't he? Wouldn't that be something, wouldn't it? A British Independence Day and a Disclosure Day together. Double celebration, yay. The answer is probably Brexit. The answer now, Hugo, I'd say is probably Brexit. However, they've still got 10 days. Right. Oh, Jerry Hattrick says here. So Ben, which Apollo mission did you mistake for 7? All right. Okay. I did say I'd get you an answer to this. It's actually Marcus Allen was talking about it. Hang on, it's the one. I did say I'd get you an answer to this, and I will. Hang on. Apollo 6. Was it Apollo 6? Let's have a look. Yep, it's blah de blah. The demonstrate translucent injection. Now then, causes and fixes the problems. Which was the one that went wrong? I'll tell you why. The reason I'm saying this, Jerry. Okay, I'm not taking a piss. All right, I'm just saying this because if you listen to HPANWO Radio, listen to my interview with Marcus Allen. Okay, listen to my Marcus Allen video. Now, let's go to Apollo 7. Hang on. I know Marcus was saying that there was the mission beforehand went wrong. Now, Apollo 7 was a human space flight. Okay, it was a manned space flight. There was one which went wrong, and they had to abort. And this was just a short time before they actually launched Apollo 8 and actually sent people to the moon. But Jerry, if you go to HPANWO Radio, I don't know if you've got time to go to HPANWO Radio. You'll find it. It's easy. You can find HPANWO TV. You can find HPANWO Radio. It is actually hang on. I believe it is I think it's the Apollo 8 interview I did with Marcus Allen, which I did in I did that actually in last Christmas, the Christmas before last, on the 50th anniversary of Apollo 8. Okay, so we now have, and the page is stopping again. Not to worry, just wait for it to unfreeze. And we have here, here we go. Oops, hang on. Trojan, that's a good name. Trojan. That's on. Okay, just wait for the page to unfreeze. Trojan is posting on reply to comments 25, part 2 of 2. Right. The moon thing. I mean, Jerry. I mean, it's a bit difficult to like have a. You know what it's like with debates like this. I'm trying to give you as much information as I can here. But before Apollo 8 went up, a short time before Apollo 8 went up, there was an Apollo mission where things went seriously wrong. And Marcus and I talk about it in my interview with him, which I think is the one I did in Christmas of 2018. That's Christmas before last. I think it is. Okay, right. Trojan says, just thanks for the reply, Ben. I think I might just put like a thing which just says, just you're welcome, Trojan. In fact, I think I will. I'll just delete all this. Oh dear, it's running slow at the moment. It's a weird thing, this business with the moon. I mean, it's like the moon issue, the moon landings, generates more debate than almost any other subject. I mean, I still do run the HPANWO forum, but it's incredible how long the threads are when it comes to the moon landings. It's everyone wants to talk about it. Absolutely, everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants to talk about it. And it looks like this. I think the page is well and truly freezing up properly. Okay, so oh no, here we go. Right, I'll say you're welcome. If it really gets very stubborn, I'll just simply pause. Trojan sounds like a name from Star Wars, you know. That's like one of the characters from the new Star Wars trilogy, which of course I reviewed. I'm sure you guys will have a lot to say about that on this particular video, which we'll come to as we go through the night. Okay. 69 Phuket up again says on reply to comments 25 part 2 of 2. Too hot. Wish that was a problem. The gas bill goes through the roof in winter. Maybe your housemates are eyeing you up for the pots. Well, I'm the biggest and fattest in the house, so well, it's all muscle, really, you know. But that's much more nutritious, isn't it? You got me out of context as usual, and probably didn't understand my fault. All right. Well, whoever's fault it was, Phuket, please clarify. Was referring not to sex bots, but real people, potential friends with a Facebook account that they slop about to their zombie friend. They slop about to their zombie friends, dating multiple people, incestuous. They probably want a live sex thing. Potential friends with a Facebook account that they slop about to their zombie friends. Friends in quote marks. Dating multiple people, incestuous. You mean like this sort of like shipping every the girl in every port kind of thing they used to say about sailors? I don't know. I mean, if that's what you're referring to, Phuket. I can't remember, unfortunately, the original conversation. P.S. Only watch your videos when cut in half. 1 litre metric. Oh, right. Which half? P.S. If you put a banana sticker on a UK light switch, the screws are the eyes, the switch is the nose, the sticker is the mouth. I'm sure someone will say that's racist. P.P.P.S. Weekend World theme tune. Da, 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 da. Actually, I can sing it. Here, I'm that old. And finally, I need a pwee. All right. Well, have one for me, will you? James Tilly Matthew. Oh, it's a conversation. It's a conversation. Okay. This is on reply to 25, part 2 of 2, and this is Hugo Rune, who says, right, here we go. MGTOW. I mean, he actually writes it with an E. Now, this is an important point. Of course, MGTOW is an acronym, men going their own way. So there's no vowel between the M and the G. I noticed many Americans could pronounce it MGTOW. Happy Humble Hermit, Turd Flinging Monkey, they pronounce it MGTOW. I just say MGTOW because I think of the first word is men. I know a couple of other people pronounce it MGTOW, but I don't know which is correct. Anyway, Hugo Rune says MGTOW. Never heard of that before. Men going their own way. What about me? Cripples having no choice but to go their own way. Chancho Bugtow. Oh well. I'm sorry you have to go your own way, Hugo. I really am. Yeah, I really am. But just because you're a cripple, as you call yourself, you know, you can still find yourself a partner. I mean, there are people with all kinds of disabilities who have partners. And 69 Phuket says here, there's a dating app for that. The web is good for connecting folks. Don't label yourself. Well, yeah, I mean, if it's up to you, Hugo, whether if you want some romance in your life, you can. There's always something. There's always ways you can go about that. I mean, I've been talking before about conspiratorial dating. I mean, I actually bring this up in that particular video that there are dating agencies. There's one called Awake Dating. There's the Tinfoil Hat Club and things like that. There's all kinds of agencies for getting people like me with other people like me. And I did have a partner, you know, I had Sue Stain for 8 years, so, you know, but James Tilly Matthews has said, strangeloveconnector.com. All right, thank you, James. So, James, Hugo, if you are looking for a special lady in your life, or a special gentleman, depending on your, I mean, it's up to you, you don't have to tell us about that if you don't want, but you can find them, maybe, there. But so where are we now? I mean, as I should add actually to what Hugo has said, and Phuket and James. You know, I have a dim view of the MGTOW scene. I mean, the point of the video was I'm not a MGTOW, and I find it very depressing. Actually, that's something very nihilistic and very bitter and rather demoralising about the MGTOW scene. I know. There's loads of guys who say, "Oh no, I'm a MGTOW and I'm really happy," but they don't sound happy. They really don't. People like Triple H and Turd Flinging Monkey are really, actually, I think they're very, very unhappy guys. They really are. I mean, I couldn't. There's only so much you can actually say with the MGTOW, and it becomes a bit repetitive. You know, women are this, women are that, women are bad, women are evil, women are horrible, and things like that. But anyway, on to something more cheerful. Joe Tuber says on reply to comments 25, part 2 of 2. As talky person from time to time watching EFAP, long content, but man, 4 hours of responding to comments. Oh, you're talking about my videos, yeah. Give me break. Sorry, BRAKE. Or why? I'm not a mechanic, I'm afraid. You've got to take it into auto repair. I enjoyed the recent video of Italian photographer American Moon. Yeah, I just started watching that. It's a long one. I mean, that is almost 4 hours. It's all about the moon, and it's I think it's by what's his name, Gallipini? I don't know. Anyway, he carries on. Enjoyed Jarrah White's series, watching every video, want more, but man, 4 hours at once. Please do it more often, but shorter. Yeah, the idea of doing more comments reply videos more often is a possibility I'm looking at, actually. Maybe making a commitment to do at least one per month, something like that. Maybe do one between every 10 videos rather than every 20, something like that. But the American Moon, I've only watched about half an hour of it. It's almost 4 hours long. Jarrah is in it. Jarrah, of course, was in our Apollo Detectives video, which I didn't produce myself. It's produced by Neil Geddes Ward, but I was involved. I was like the host. Joe Tuber says underneath, by the way, once again recommend American Moon DVD. It's a great showing state of a program. How rushed they had to be. It amazed me once again. Just search it on YouTube. Yes, I have, Joe. Despite your lack of punctuation and rather mediocre grammar, I get the point you make, and I do. And so far I'm really enjoying this particular video. I've only watched some of it, like I said. Same video, Hugo Runes says, rugby. That's the game, I think. Yeah. Did I even talk about rugby? Yeah, of course. Oh, it was the Six Nations, wasn't it? Yeah. That's coming up again, isn't it? That's coming up again, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's coming up again soon, isn't it? Anyway, well said, Ben. I too don't really care who wins. I love the game. Although I will always want England's opponents to win. So come on, Wales. Try again next time. Lol. Yeah, I know, Hugo. You have some interesting ideas about history, which we have discussed, and about the nation of England and how it fits in with Britain in general. We discussed, the use of words like Celtic and Semitic and Anglo and stuff like that, and what their real meaning is. So yeah, I know what you mean. I do want Wales to win. Yeah, not because I don't want England to win. I mean, England is my adopted. I wouldn't say it's my adopted homeland. I mean, I wouldn't say that I call England adopted homeland, but I do live in England. I've lived in England since I was a little kid. I'm an expatriate Welshman. I can't consider myself English at all, even though I am, to all intents and purposes, when it comes to practical purposes. I speak with an English accent, for example. So Hugo continues on the same video. Okay, Ben, I've had another beer or two while watching this long video. 1 more hour to go. Oh, well done, Hugo. Well done. But I really do like your comment. I forgot your exact words, but along the lines of, I can tell when you've been smoking cannabis and when you've been drinking too. Spot it, mate. Love it. You're getting a love heart for that, Hugo. Yes, I can. I think Hugo does vary in his personalities when he does these things. He does. I really does. All right. Anyway, 25. Same video, part 2 again. Keith Megtow says, I appreciate you covering my reply. I say you're welcome. No problem. You're welcome. You're welcome, Keith. And Keith, he self-identifies as a Megtow here. He's got the symbol of the straight line with the arrow pointing off to the right, and he calls himself Keith Megtow. Despite my own views on the Megtow scene, I don't want anyone. If you're a Megtow, I don't want anyone to take offence. I hope you won't. I do sympathise with Megtows. I really do. I understand why you I understand what drives a guy to become a MGTOW. I really do. Jorge Rodriguez, hello. How are you? I think yes. All right. I admit. He said. Now this is something I actually worked out. Let's just remind him. Here we go. Hang on. Hello. Thank you for your videos and answers to my comments. But sometimes you are getting to confuse me with somebody else. Whoever it is not me. Yeah, I know that now, Jorge. Sorry, it was someone else. It was it's to do with. I don't want to go into details. It's to do with the Dr. Jonathan Reed stuff. It's on Facebook. I've done something I haven't done in ages. I had to privatise my Reed video. I think I talked about this before, didn't I? I've privatised it because it's just too much. It's the only time I've done this, and I don't like doing it. But there's a guy called Jorge something who was connected with that. It's absolutely baffling, actually. I mean, people, whatever you think of Reed, the obsessive nature of those who are against him, I really don't know. The Crafty Nihilists, hey, it's the Crafty Nihilists, both of them. And at 1:55, and there's a timestamp here. It's in my last comments reply video, part 1. Richard Dawkins, sat nav pending. What's this about? Let's have a look. Again. You don't have to sit around for 9 hours waiting for me to reply to you. You don't. You can actually. The longest you have to wait is 1 hour, because what I'll do is. Right, Crafty. I don't know what you mean by Richard Dawkins there. Sat nav pending. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I know. I actually know the Crafty Nihilists, both of them, Liz and Mark, and maybe I haven't quite understood your sense of humour just yet, but here we go. Jerry Hattrick. Right, I actually did a written reply to Jerry. So this is what happened was Jerry Hattrick said, Ben, if I decided to do a little video, I do occasionally do written replies to people sometimes. If you had seen the video on how the moon rocks are kept, why did you speak up when silly comments? Why didn't you speak up when silly comments were being made? Why did you pretend not to know how they were stored? And I said underneath here, Jerry, I pretended nothing. I had not seen that video when we recorded that program. The latest Apollo Detectives film was shot about 3 months before it was published because of a massive editing problem. If the subject comes up again in future videos about the moon, I will talk about the storage of Apollo rocks. There we are. I'm referring here to there's actually a video on YouTube where some guy gets a camera into the place where they store most of the moon rocks. So the moon rocks are actually spread out across the world in various places. But the majority are kept in sealed compartments in a sealed chamber in some laboratory somewhere, and someone actually got a camera in to go and see them. Now, you couldn't actually see the rocks, but you could see them inside this. You could see a little bit of them actually inside the sealed glass cabinets they were kept in. But Jerry says underneath here, so Ben, why you didn't know how the rocks were stored? Hang on. So you didn't know how the rocks were stored, but commented anyway. Correct. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I thought I knew how the rocks were stored, and maybe I got it wrong. Here we go. Same video, same part. Ravenhill, the Hooded Mystic. That's another great name. Great upload, Ben. Much thanks. Also, at this juncture, do you feel worried about where Britain is heading? Uncontrolled mass migration, etc. Yes, I do very much. About the mass migration and many other things as well. I've talked about it in several videos I've done. I do hope now with Brexit we can make a new start to battle back against this new world order. But one thing I want to make clear, and I will make clear in my Brexit video, it's not all over on the 30th of on the 31st of January. It's Friday week. The New World Order just doesn't suddenly come to a screeching halt on Friday the 31st of January. Brexit is a step along the way, but it is not the end. There's many more to come. There'll be many more steps we have to take. As Caroline Stevens has pointed out, if you watch her videos and her interviews with me, we have to repeal the Lisbon Treaty. That's the next step. Boris has to do that. if he's going to be who he says he is, basically. Right, same video, Mr. Wonderful. That's wonderful with a U. Wonderful. Who says, I don't think many people can really appreciate the amount of time, sincerity, and genuine humanity that you put into your response comments uploads. No muss, no fuss, just straight up interaction with the audience, genuinely, authentically. Cheers from Florida. Oh, thank you, Mr. Wonderful. You get a love heart for that. Really much appreciate that. I'm really glad you enjoy what I do here. I really do. How are we doing for time? Oh, it's got another quarter of an hour to go. Good 45 minutes, that's not bad. Do you think we'll break the 9-hour barrier today? Probably not, actually. Because, probably not. Because there are actually slightly fewer comments than on the last one. It all depends. I mean, we might do. I never know. I may not be. It's now 20 to 8 in the evening. I may not be able to get them all done tonight, so I'll carry on later on. Edwardian lady says, "Haha, I love you too, Ben." Thank you, Edwardian lady. I've actually never met Edwardian lady. I'd like to, but I never have. That's on reply to comments 25, part 1 of 2. Okay, so where are we now? Oh, come on in. Oh, down a bit. Up, down a bit. Okay, where are we now? Right, up a bit. So it's just that the page is very big, that's all. Right, goodbye Google Hangouts. This is Fluffy, who says on Goodbye Google Hangouts, I'm still able to use it. Are you? You can still use Google Hangouts? It's not still running, is it? Hang on a minute, let me just check. No, it's gone. I'll just Google it, hang on. Google is your friend, as Richard Dolan. No information available on this page. Google Hangouts, Chrome. Google Hangouts. Hang on, what's this? Extensions. Google Hangouts. Overview. Well, it still has a page here for it. I mean, that could be like an... Well, you know, I don't have time to look into it now, Fluffy, but if you're saying it's still available... I mean, it's sort of open source software, isn't it? So I suppose someone, if they wanted to, could set up their own version of it. Except, of course, they'd be done for copyright. Wouldn't they? They'd be... Because they'd have to call it something else. They'd have to call it Giggle Hangouts or something. TK says, another fabulous comments video. Thank you, TK. Thanks very much. I'll just give you a love heart there and I'll say thanks, mate. There we go. You know, I've never met. There's lots of people, TK as well. And lots of I've never met them, but you know, I sort of know them. A few of you I have met occasionally, but not many, not all of you. Sometimes I think, some of you. Sometimes I get comments and I think it'd be nice to meet you. You know, nice to be. You know, you should come along to conferences like the Probe conference and things like that. And oh, I've got sad news, by the way. I will be doing a video for the next Probe conference. It's going to be the last one ever. That's going to be the last Probe conference. So they're shutting it down. I thought this might happen. I'll say more about that later, but it's very... Sorry to break it to you, mate, but it's very bad news. Brexit extension live stream, TK says. Oh, how exciting is the Brexit, don't you think? Well, TK, it's anything but boring. I mean, of course, even with Brexit fatigue, and you take that into account, it's still quite good fun. It's an awful lot going on. And I do find it... it's given meaning to my life, you could say. Right, another bloody delay. Yes. This is my video called Another Bloody Delay, which I did when the Halloween Brexit thing fell through. And basically the title says it all, doesn't it? And TK says heavy vibes, dude. Yeah. And we have Jerry Hattrick here, who I think wants to engage me in a conversation about football or something. No, of course he doesn't. Jerry wants to talk about the moon landings. Jerry Hattrick is actually something like an unfunny Steve Mumbling, actually. So let's see what he has to say here. Ben, have you not heard of the Starship spacecraft and Super Heavy rocket from SpaceX, or the Space Launch System from NASA? Yes, I have. Both are being built right now and are larger than the Saturn V. Yet you tell us we will never see rockets that size. Oh, right. Oh, really? Okay, well, maybe I got that wrong. Well, I'll tell you what. When we see them launch and we see them fly, then we'll know you proved me wrong, then, haven't you? Yusaku Maizawa will be the first paying customer. Yusaku Maizawa, that's a good Scottish name, isn't it? Will be the first paying customer to travel around the moon on SpaceX's Starship. Will he? Will he, Jerry? Well, Yusaku, I believe. Well, it's supposed to happen in 2018. It hasn't happened yet. He was the guy who bought 2 tickets to fly around the moon on the Crew Dragon, but on seeing the design for the 100-seater Starship, decided to wait for that and take a group of world-renowned artists with him. Maybe you could do a video about SpaceX, a short history bit, where they're at now. Not being rude, but I think the Apollo detectives are a tad out of touch. Alright, I actually, I don't think we're a tad out of touch, but yeah, I mean, obviously we're interested in these various things. Now you post a link here. Now this is a link here to... Alright, yeah, we have here... Indeed, we have like a list of the various sizes of various rockets. Now, the Energia rocket is actually quite small, but the Energia rocket for a while, I think, was the most powerful rocket in the world. That was an old Soviet model from Russia. Then we have various others. There's the N1, which was supposed to take a Soviet astronaut to the moon, but blew up, and they abandoned it actually because it kept blowing up. Then there's the Saturn V, which of course allegedly did take somebody to the moon. And we have here the SLS Block Cargo 2, and that's 130 tons, 111 feet tall, so it's slightly lighter but slightly taller than the Saturn V. And finally, the Starship, which, God, that's an evil looking thing. It looks like something Darth Vader would fly in. 118 meters in height and 150 tons, which makes it bigger and heavier than the Saturn V. Alright then, Jerry, you've proved your point about that, but let's have a look at this here. SpaceX's Starship may start flying moon missions in 2022. Alright, so it was going to be 2 years ago, now it's 2 years in the future. So what do you want to bet that when we get to 2022 it still won't have happened? We'll see, but I wonder if Mr. Yakamuchi, whatever his name is, I wonder if he actually has a clause in his contract so he can get a refund on his ticket. I mean, obviously if I buy a train ticket, the train's not running, I can go back and get my money back on the ticket, can't I? But can Mr. what's his name, can he do that? Mr. Yusaku Maizawa. We'll see, honestly, Jerry. Well, if we do, obviously, if we see a rocket like that, if these rockets are actually built and they're launched, and obviously, yes, we will have seen a rocket that size again, and you can be happy knowing you proved me wrong there. Right, the Joker film review. Stephen True Seeker. Hi, Stephen. Hello again. Now, Stephen is someone I have actually met. I have met him a few times, actually. The Joker. I liked it. I could identify with a lot of it. It was violent and maybe promoting violence with dark humour. Maybe it was the Joker clown programming, but I still liked the film. There was some strange stuff going on with the film. Reminded me of V for Vendetta, but Taxi Driver and other films are in it. If you've researched all those clown sightings, some clowns actually stick a gun to their head and kill themselves. Yeah, I mean, the clown sightings was really odd because you're referring to this wave of clown sightings across the world where clowns kept being seen. I actually covered this, actually, not on HPANWO TV, but on the HPANWO Voice blog. And I actually talked about the fact that there was these clowns kept appearing everywhere and no one seemed to know where they were coming from. Some of them were people dressed up, but some of them were like appearing in woods and things like that. And I got the feeling there was some kind of Men in Black like phenomenon. I suspect there was some kind of Men in Black effect here going on there. Although I'm not sure. But there was some kind of extra dimensional entity that was coming into the world in the form of a clown. I mean, it's rather like those bogus social workers and bogus policemen that keep appearing. They have a lot in common with the Men in Black phenomenon, and that to me is a sign that they are some kind of extra-dimensional intrusion. That's a big. It's what are you talking about, Ben? What are you talking about, you nutter? Oh, yeah, well, these are kind of weird. These are one of these weird subjects that I don't have time to go into now. The Joker though was very interesting. I mean, yeah, the character himself was incredible. It was an incredibly well thought out character, brought to life brilliantly by Joaquin Phoenix, the actor who played him. It's been criticised enormously for. Sometimes it's been criticised by. It's been criticised by people who are saying that it's promoting violence, it's promoting all kinds of bad ideas or bad policies or social problems. I think it's about social problems, definitely. I mean, but the character himself is this guy undergoing. It's about a man who's basically undergoing a nervous breakdown. He's experiencing a nervous breakdown, and so that's what makes it like Taxi Driver. Because of course, Taxi Driver is about the same thing. It's about a man played by Robert De Niro who's undergoing a nervous breakdown. In the film Taxi Driver, of course, he's pulled back from the brink by his compassion for this young girl, Jodie Foster's character, but the Joker's pushed right over the edge. Very, very good, that, anyway. Okay, what's happening now? We have Cheeky F.E. Kerry on reply to comments 25 part 2 of 2, and Cheeky says, oh, it's just a link. It may have been in the spam folder. I always approve all my spam messages just in case there's something worthwhile. Here we go. And let's just have let's right click and open that. What's this saying? Oh, this is over an hour long, but it's from something called Globebusters. Oh no, Globebusters. Yep. It's called Waiki Wai Freeberg Undercover, the famous astrophysicist. It's a mirror. Oh, right, okay. Cheeky F.E. Kerry says as well on the same video, reply to comments 25 part 2 of 2. Ben, why do you claim NASA lie about the moon landings, but, oh, I guessed right, but believe their testimony about everything else? Surely if someone has perjured themselves in people's court of law, they are proven liars. Why then do you believe anything else, any other footage they put out there? Alright, Cheeky. I'm guessing you're a flat earther. Okay. I've done an entire video about the flat earth. I suggest you watch it. As for me not believing the testimony, believing the testimony of NASA, I don't. I don't believe the testimony of NASA. And you're completely wrong where you say, why I doubt NASA's claim about the moon landings but believe everything else they say. Absolutely not. If you're talking about the evidence they provide that the Earth is a sphere, which you don't believe, I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't just come from them. If it was just NASA giving us evidence and all the other evidence pointed to the Earth being flat, I would be more questioning of it. But the fact of the matter is the Earth is not flat. The Earth is a sphere, and we don't rely on NASA to tell us that. I'm very, very suspicious of other things NASA have told us. For example, some of the things they've said about the planets, about the nature of outer space itself, some of the physics experiments to do with light speed and things like that. So yeah, I don't consider myself a NASA wide-eyed follower. So you misjudged me there. But do watch my video on the flat Earth. Do please watch it, because it was actually a live stream which I converted into like a regular video, because I thought, you know, it really allowed people to get in there and question and things like that. I've also interviewed on HPANWO Radio several people, including Mark Sargent, who's one of the world's biggest flatheads. So check out HPANWO Radio, Nikola Tesla, Mark Sargent, etc. I've interviewed these people. Dr. Alice Howarth on cancer cures. Right, this is my Skeptics in the Pub Oxford video. GC Math, Ben. Yes, this is David Gregg saying this, and indeed I do cover that. The GC Math thing with David Noakes. It's a very big, important issue, and I do address that in that particular video. I'm glad I went to that. Actually, I do enjoy Skeptics in the Pub. And David also says on the same video, I think she's in the pay of Big Pharma. David Noakes and Lynn Thayer had their evidence. Clinical. Lynn is in a French jail and they're trying to extradite David. Yeah, I think Lynn's been released now, but David's not out of trouble. He's facing additional charges. I'm sorry to say, and I'm ashamed of myself to say this, I haven't been keeping up with their story because it's one of so many things going on in the world at the moment. I find it hard to focus on one single thing. I don't believe that Dr. Alice Howarth is in the pay of Big Pharma, though. I think most of these people are not. You don't. I mean, this is where the skeptics get it wrong, because the skeptics keep saying, you couldn't cover up cancer cures because all the cancer scientists would have to be in on it, and you couldn't swear them to secrecy. I mean, they get cancer too, you know. Are they going to keep quiet about their cures that could save their own lives or their loved ones' lives? You don't have to brief everyone into the conspiracy. You can just simply create a culture of tacit agreement. Remember the Milgram experiment, things like that? Watch my video, my reply to secret sources on the cancer cure. David Gregg says here also on the same video, who will end up paying for all the cancer caused by the depleted uranium ammo used by the West? All right, yep, this is referring to the munitions used in war, in modern warfare, some of which is made of depleted uranium, and that is now being scattered everywhere wherever there's a war. These munitions are just they just leave this dust everywhere. Some people call it a silent nuke because it's like a nuclear attack, but you get the fallout but you don't get the explosion. And who's going to pay for it? Oh god, I don't know. Yeah, oops, it looks like it's time for a little break now. And I clicked, and you know what, it didn't make any noise. You know why it didn't make any noise? Because idiot I am, I had the do not disturb button on, which is a bit pointless, isn't it? It's a bit pointless. What I'll do is instead I'll put it on airplane mode, and in future, and I'll leave it so it still sounds, but I just don't get any calls. So anyway, I'm going to take a break now. Then we will carry on. Right, okay, I'm back. For some reason it always freezes in the first few seconds whenever I do these recordings, so if that happens I'm sorry about that. Okay, so David Gregg says, this is on Dr. Alice Howarth on cancer cures. Ben, I'm hoping people will realise in time to hold these big pharma crooks legally accountable. Yes indeed, me too, I really do hope that that does happen. So I'll just put you let's not responding. Okay, here we go. BZ Garson says underneath that, why can't you put all your comments in one post? It's bloody annoying seeing you post one-liners all over the place. Well, you know, people have different styles, BZ, you know, and it doesn't bother me actually. I know there's some people, I mean Jack Parker does this as well, who seems to post about 4 different comments every time he wants to comment on a video, and I mean that's not. It doesn't bother me either way. Actually, it's in many ways it's easier if you're applying from my point of view. If oops, hang on. Okay, within that, let's just do this. It helps if you actually have the tag, Ben. Yes, it does, Ben. It helps if you have the tag. So I'll go back to the. Come on. Oh, what's happening? There we are. If you have the tag, and I've got to just paste it now. Come on. So yeah, some people. In fact, Neptune Returns says under here. Hi Neptune, how are you? BZ Garson. He's a one-liner magician. All right. A one-liner magician. I don't quite get that, Neptune. Irish humour. It's always like that. I'm just waiting for it now to go paste, and nothing's happening. Oh well, never mind. I'll try again in a minute. Oh no, here we go. Paste. Right. Paste. Is it there? It's just the page runs slow sometimes. There we go. And reply. There we go. Anyway, Goonlove says on Dr. Alice Howarth cure on cancer cures. GC Math, yeah, keep watching. Another one says GC Math. You know, Goonlove, I'm well aware of that. I mean, I don't know if you. I mean, if someone puts a comment on and they haven't watched the whole video, and it's something I answer later on in the video, and they just post the comment first, it doesn't bother me. I just think that it's up to them, you know. Right, nothing as it seems, says on Dr. Alice Howarth Cancer Cures. I think I have the next Mandela effect sized up. Wait, it's shifted yet again. Oh really? What's that? Nothing. My video wasn't actually about the Mandela effect. Have you seen there's a movie coming out about the Mandela effect? Yeah. It's like a feature film. I'd like to see that. Patrick Patel says, hi Patrick, how are you? Thank you very much indeed, Ben, for sharing this important information with us. Appreciate it. You're very welcome, Patrick. You're very welcome indeed. I'm glad you like that. I'll just come click you a reply there. Here we go. I'll just put in. That's on the same video. And we have here on the same video again. Oh, it's Be the Truth. Be the Truth. Triple up GC Math Ben. Love her. Oh yeah. GC Math indeed. The whole GC Math thing, I mean, Ian R. Crane has covered that in detail, and he's been campaigning for David and Lynn, and it's awful. I think it's horrific that they actually were put in jail for saving people's lives. Just like in my reply to Secret Sources, I talk about how I had a friend. I got a friend who was a nurse who didn't face jail but almost faced losing her career. And again, that's I think an evil thing. Paul G says on Dr. Alice Howarth Cancer Cures. I don't know Paul G. I think that's a new person. I just don't get it, Ben. There are so many people alive and, as importantly, well today that wouldn't be if not for advances in modern medicine, even in the last decade. All right, you see, it's get that strawman out, paint them black. Ben Emlyn-Jones, hear me, is criticising the whole Big Pharma Cancer Cures establishment. Therefore, he is against every single piece of modern medicine that's ever been invented. He wants us to go back to leeches. Yes, indeed, even though I was a hospital porter for 23 years and I served proudly within that system. I hope this is quite a long comment here. I hope the rest of it increases. I hope you improved, Paul G. He carries on here. As a staff nurse, you see, you're a healthcare professional, like me, see? I was in there too. As a staff nurse, I've witnessed these changes firsthand. Modern advances in drugs and techniques are being brought about by the same people that you say are all conspiring against us when it comes to cancer treatment. Right, first of all, I've got a lot of respect. I mean, I hardly need to say this, do I? Why do I need to say? Why do I have to keep putting these disclaimers in? It's because of this polarisation that you people keep slapping on everyone who disagrees with you. I appreciate the advances in drugs and techniques. I mean, within my own profession, you know, the invention of the pad slide and things like that. You know, healthcare has improved enormously during my 23-year career. Now, I say that all being brought about by the same people that I say are conspiring against us when it comes to cancer treatment. What did I say earlier on? I think I make this point in the film. Right? I'm not saying... I mean, someone actually said earlier on, you remember, someone said, I think it was... I can't remember who it was. Someone said, oh, Dr. Alice Howarth, she's in the paid informer of Big Pharma. You know, no. I've explained how people don't conspire. People go along to get along within a culture and within a psychological landscape that is engineered from them by experts in psychology. As I said, you know, do you really think that every single doctor, every single oncologist, every single cancer research expert is somehow being paid in? They say, look, just pretend you can't find a cure for cancer. We know you really can, right? Have I ever suggested that? I've explained in this very video, Paul, staff nurse, exactly why I don't think that is the case. That it's much more related to things such as the Milgram experiment, the disobedience and obedience psychology, things like that. That's how it works. And I know that it can't be everyone. I mean, it can't be. If every single person was briefed in, well, they wouldn't cooperate, would they? Too many of them would know. They'd get cancer themselves eventually, and they'd say they'd want to use the treatment on themselves, or their kids, or their loved ones. So what you say? You are putting words in my mouth that I've never uttered. He carries on. I'm not naive enough to think that some researchers, doctors or big pharma aren't corrupt, but not everyone is in it or being duped. Well, Paul, I've just explained to you, and I explained in the video you are commenting on, that I do not believe everyone is corrupt. I know that. You understand. I know you're not naive enough to think that some researchers are not corrupt. I'm glad you're not. But I never said everyone was in on it. As for being duped, yeah, it is. Unfortunately, they are being duped. But I'm not. Maybe not everyone. I mean, Lynn Thayer and David Noakes are not being duped. BZ Garson says underneath, at last, someone with some common sense. Someone with some common sense. Well, you see, Paul hasn't really uttered very much common sense in that comment, though, has he, BZ? He hasn't. He's misrepresented me. He has misrepresented me twice. Firstly, pretending that I'm against all modern medicine, and then saying that I said something that I never said about people being involved. So that's not common sense, is it? Anyway, what have we here? Right, we have Rabbit, and the same video here. Oh my goodness me! It's another one. It's another Rabbit special. Well, I'm guessing if she knew of a cancer cure, she'd be sure to tell us. Would she? Are you sure about that, Rabbit? Because that's how medical science works in the real world. That's why we have things like vaccines to wipe out diseases. It's why we live longer, more healthier lives than ever before in human history. And it hasn't been brought about by snake oil salesmen, selling cure-alls and preying on the desperate and vulnerable. I'd have no problem closing them down. A lot of this video is just you bleating on about why and your research isn't taken as seriously as Dr. Alice Howarth. It's because, Ben, she's not nuts! Alright. Honestly, Rabbit, this could be a cut and paste from any skeptic forum in the world. You said nothing original here at all. Firstly, if she knew of a cancer cure, she'd be sure to tell us. Why would she? Why would she? Firstly, why would she know about it? She is in the profession. She does this full time, which means she is blinkered and focused on the actual subject the way she has been taught it, very intensely through university and various other things like that. I mean, you literally, look at Cox, look at Professor Brian Cox, it's incredible. He's a perfect example of how very, very knowledgeable people can be so utterly ignorant, because they're knowledgeable about one thing and one thing only. Do you think I couldn't have a debate with Professor Brian Cox about particle physics, could I? I could never. I mean, I wouldn't even understand some of the things he says about particle physics. I'm sure about that, but look, the moment he opens his mouth about things outside his field, he makes an absolute arse of himself, because he is so specialised, because these academics are so specialised onto one particular track, one particular subject, that when they start talking about things outside their field, they're some of the most unknowledgeable people imaginable. Do you think Dr. Howarth would know about a cancer cure? Do you think she'd know about it when it was outside her field? Probably not. If she knew, would she be sure to tell us? Well, I don't believe she, unlike someone else, I don't believe she's a conspirator. I think that she'd be subject to the same psychological laws as most other people. I don't know whether she would or not, quite frankly. She may, when she sees what happens to the slaves crucified on the road to Rome, she might not want to join them. Because that's how medical science works in the real world. Well, medical science, you see, medical science in the real world is not a scientific world. The real world is clown world. The real world is this post-rational, post-moral, post-democratic world. I'm not against science, but just you can't pretend that science can just draw these perfect circles in the kind of environment that we are in. We have the kind of intellectual landscape that we inhabit. How medical science works in the real world, it has to comply with the real world. Rabbit says that's why we have things like vaccines that wipe out diseases. I suggest you watch my videos on that, especially my zombie videos. The Zombie 2015 one is the best. I go into a lot about vaccines there. And he says it's why we live longer, more healthier lives than ever before in human history. Well, no. The reason we live longer, more healthier lives than ever before in human history, and indeed, well, ever before in known human history, shall we say that, is because of, firstly, it is advances in medicine to a certain extent. So Paul G, again, this is how Paul G misrepresents me, and I hope you don't do the same. But it's also because of other things. It increases in technology. For example, cholera has been eliminated from cholera and the plague has been eliminated from Europe. Why? Because we didn't invent a vaccine against cholera or a vaccine against the plague. It's because we improved sanitation. Joseph Bazalgette came along with his design for a sewage system. Indeed, I've done an entire video about this, which has been copied virtually all over the world. And so that's one of the reasons. The reasons that people caught the cholera and the plague is because they weren't disposing of their excrement, and they weren't living in sanitary conditions. Rats became more common. We basically shared our homes with rats, which of course is how the plague was transmitted. They didn't know it back then, but it's to do with fleas. It's to do with flea bites on rats. If they had a way of keeping the rats away, as we do today, the plague wouldn't have spread. Same with cholera. The reason we didn't have cholera is because people were drinking filthy water. People were essentially drinking sewage, because the Thames was a massive sewer. Bazalgette came along with his sewage system, and we had clean water at last. And what you know, cholera was eliminated. And what you say here, snake oil salesman preying on the desperate and vulnerable. You know, I mean, Rabbit, you just, as I said, you borrowed that from the James Randi forum, didn't you? It really did, didn't you? And a lot of this video is just you bleating on, right? Well, duh, it's my vlog. It's my vlog. You can't tune in to somebody's vlog and expect not to hear them, what do you call it, bleating on. Okay, I mean, I don't care. I don't care if what you put research in quotes here isn't taken as seriously, Dr. Alice Howard. I'm saying what I think is true. All right, here we go. Steve Mumbling! This is on reply to comments 25 part 2 of 2. Steve Mumbling. I did a reply video to his again, didn't I? Christmas. That's coming up. And here we go. Hunchbacked has absolutely no understanding of the technology used by Apollo. Really? Hasn't he? Right, Ben has absolutely no understanding of the technology used by Apollo. Right, that's a statement. So, how do you make your case? Present your argument. That's why he thinks Hunchbacked is worth listening to. He isn't. It's the blind leading the blind. They're completely clueless, just like Alan and the rest of the fake moon landing muppets. All right, is that your prosecution case? Is that your argument? Is that you presenting evidence? Is it, Steve? Because you haven't made a point. You haven't made a single axiom here. This is all rhetoric. You know, just making assertions without any basis at all. And I actually replied to Steve I actually replied to Steve in the comments. I said, Steve, did you know there's a documentary about Rua coming out? I'm going to make a response video to you now. I'll get it done before the docu is released, which I did, and that's coming up. Steve says, just to make sure you tell the truth and leave out the usual embellishments. And I did. And what usual embellishments? Remember, there were no aliens running around talking to the children. Yes, there were. No adults saw anything. I know, but that's not the point. The aliens never said a word to the children. All right. Okay, I'm not going to read out this because I cover this later on in a video which I made, which you'll be hearing about shortly, in which Steve puts comments on there. Jerry Hattrick says underneath, I'm a tad concerned about Ben's behaviour around 424. As it moves on, he gets very angry at a user he believes to be the actor Denzel Washington. What do I? Hang on. Let me just Jerry saying, what's this? I'm sorry, I'm messing up completely here. This is on reply to comments 20. That's on that video. It's alright. I'm going to try and. The reason I stopped it last time is because I scrolled down. It just froze while I was scrolling. The scrolling froze. Hopefully that won't happen this time. I got down there eventually on the third try. What's the problem? It's. Anyway, yeah. I'll just get back to it. So it's, Jerry, I don't know what's wrong with that. What's your point there? What's wrong with my behaviour there? And I get angry at a user. I don't remember that thing about Denzel Washington. I don't know. If Denzel Washington actually comments, or if he watches, that's great, Denzel. You know, but I didn't get angry with him. I didn't do any of those things. I thought you were great in Crimson Tide, by the way. What's wrong with my behaviour there? Hang on. All right. Anyway, let's carry on. Patrick Patel says on. Oh, hang on. Is this what's this? Is this Dr. Alice Howarth again? Patrick Patel says on it. Ben, I think you resemble the choo-choo lady on the left. Ha ha ha. YouTube Les Babettes, Mr. Sandman. The choo-choo lady on the left. Oh, who's that? Is this in the video? Alright, I don't know who you mean, Patrick, sorry. There were several people. Joel W says on Rachel's Eyes book review, new video. Here we go. Joel W. I don't recognise that name, somebody new. But Rachel's Eyes book review, that was a good book, that. I thought I'd do it anyway. Joel says, "You're so far off, dude, it's sad. A fully programmed zombie. Not far from perfectly possessed." Oh, what's your point? Why am I so off? Okay, what have I said that's so off? In that video. Tell me what it is. And a fully programmed zombie. Now, a fully programmed zombie would imply that I am a zombie and I've been programmed. Where's your evidence for that? Could you present your evidence? There's 3 sentences in this comment. It's like a shorter version of Steve mumbling. You're making assertions with no axioms. Not far from perfectly possessed. I don't know what you mean by that at all. That doesn't even make any sense. Amy says on Rachel's Eyes book review. What's this here? Oh, this is a link to a video which is just like lots of colours, and there's a Q tag. Someone actually says in the comments underneath this video, "What is this? Tell me, please." So Amy, I don't get that. I don't know what that's about. But Neptune Returns says underneath, he seems to be very impressed because he says underneath, "Incredible." All right, here we go. You think that's incredible, do you, Neptune? I think that doesn't make any sense at all. Right. Stephen Dines says on Bailiffs Out the Blue, "You've used a phone without paying the bill. Pay it." Stephen, I tried. I went to Telefonica O2. And I said to them, "Look, it was actually £23 I owed them." I says, "Look, I'll pay the money. I'm sorry." And they said, "No, we don't want it. We don't want you to pay it. We don't want you to pay it, Stephen." They wouldn't let me pay it because the bill had been converted into a credit bond, which has now been circulated among these various bailiffs organisations. They were making money off it. Dangerous Dan says on Rachel's Eyes book review, "We are all different, yet we were all the same." Yeah, it's one of those paradoxes, isn't it? That's makes sense somehow. The Current War film review. Oh, I love this. I love doing this one. George Plagianos says, I've never heard of him before. Oops. George Plagianos says on the Current War film review, "Oh my God, Leaves of 3, Let It Be." Oh my God. Leaves of 3, Let It Be. I don't understand that at all. Patrick Patel says on Rachel's Eyes book review, "Great review, Ben. Thank you." I'll just say that's I'll just write underneath. Glad you liked it, Patrick. You're welcome, Patrick. Patrick, glad you liked it. Smiley face. Okay. So that's Patrick. That's on. See, if sometimes I do actually I do put on short comments, replies to people on the videos. Right, go to hell, Tony Blair. This is Neil Benjamin on Go to Hell, Tony Blair. Tony murdering Blair is guilty of treason and of destroying the UK, and is guilty of war crimes against humanity. Yes, he is. I think we need another Nuremberg trial for these people. We really do. Right, where are we going now? Okay, Rachel's Eyes book review. TK. we got a double comment here from TK. There we go. It's a good book, and like I said, if you've not read it, it's a really great book. TK says, I have an implant that was done by aliens, and an angel gave me the ability to fly, and a ghost sprinkled spirit dust on me so I can turn invisible. And if you don't believe me, then just channel them and ask them. He says underneath that, if you can't channel, then you'll have to take the M6 to Junction 11, then head towards the 8th dimension, and before you get there, the aliens, angels and ghosts all hang around near the wormhole just past the 7th dimension, next to the free energy. Alright. Well, you know what? I'm tempted to think you're being a tad sarcastic, TK. I mean, get the M6 to Junction 11? I got to go past that service station, do I? Will the angels buy me one of their overpriced cups of tea, I wonder? Is the wormhole as bad as one of those sort of slip roads where you get stuck in a traffic jam just before you get there, and you try to drive up onto the verge and go round and end up getting nicked by the cops for getting, things like that? Oh, dearie me. So, yeah. Just in case you're being serious, tell me more about the implant. Right, this is Confessions of an Alien Abductee, the Aftermath. My God, this is a really old one. This is a really old video, which God I did back in 2014, I think. Thereabouts is when that awful TV program came out. Confessions of an Alien Abductee was a TV series that was I was partly involved with simply because it was filmed in a series of conferences that I was at. Now they asked me if I would be in it, if I would actually take part in it, and I said no, or words to that effect. And when I watched the actual video, I was very, very relieved. And this is a comment by what hashtag she thinks. Are you a feminist? Oh God, hang on. Anyway, how can a UFO abduct somebody in the middle of the day, in the middle of a city, but only the abductees see it, etc.? Right. That's interesting. That's what's known as the Oz factor, what she thinks. It's the Oz factor is that you do have this kind of weird, otherworldly feel to all this. It's true, people. For example, a lady who was like, there was like a large object over her house. I met a lady actually in when I was with Truth Seekers Northeast, where there was a large UFO over her house, and it was like obviously she lives in like a large town. So did anyone else see it? It seems that no one did. Why is that? It's a good question actually, but it doesn't mean that the abductions and the other things are not real. There is some actual ufological literature about this, so do check it out. She carries on. And always the case, and very often, the people who claim to be abductees either have some kind of emotional illness or attempting to make money from their UFO claims. Rubbish, absolute rubbish, not true. The people who actually are abductees are not universally sane, but many of them have been tested by psychotherapists and psychiatrists, and are found to have no mental illness or emotional illness at all. And making money? Making money? How much money do you think people make off this? How much money has Simon Parkes made, and these other people? They don't make. They lose jobs sometimes. They get put up on they get put on the sick list. They sometimes have like lawsuits against them. They get divorces. Their children have nothing to do with them. What on earth are you talking about? You seem to know very little about this. Anyway, she thinks carries on. How else do you explain it? An invisibility cloak that means only the abductees see it? Okay, that's going back to your first point, and I admit that is an interesting question. There is ufological literature about this. Like I say, Jenny Randall's talking about the Oz factor. She carries on. Maybe there should be less focus on the idea that everything is part of some kind of conspiracy as it's not. Okay. I have said, actually, especially in my video Why 2016 Matters, why I don't think everything is some kind of conspiracy. I don't think everything is some kind of conspiracy. I had all kinds of things. I mean, we had a break-in a couple of years ago. There was a break-in in my home, and Ahmad's laptop got stolen. Right? That wasn't a conspiracy. That was just a straight, ordinary burglary. It was just a completely ordinary burglary. That's all it was. Someone got in through a window. It wasn't a conspiracy. They weren't MI5 agents doing it. It was just an ordinary burglary. Not everything that happens is a conspiracy. And in my video Why 2016 Matters, I explain why a lot of the material that some people in the truth movement are denouncing as a conspiracy, I say is not. What she thinks continues. I came away from the documentary feeling I'd just seen 3 unwell people being taken advantage of. Especially one lady who was grieving for a child, who did the lie detector with obvious results. I think it was an unfair of documentary producers. I actually agree with you on that. These people are unwell. They're not unwell. That you're talking here about Simon Parkes, Marie Kayali, and Chantal Piper. They're not unwell because they're mentally ill. They're unwell because they have experienced some terrible. They've experienced this terrible. Through all the issues that go along with extraterrestrial abduction, which has a lot of good sides and a lot of bad sides. This contact. It depends what kind of contact it is. The lady grieving for the child. That's Marie Kayali, who lost her daughter. Yeah. Whose daughter was allegedly committed suicide, but I don't think did. And the lie detector, yeah, she was hooked up to a polygraph and she didn't pass it. And now the funny thing is, that's in the documentary. There's only about 5 minutes of that particular segment, whereas Miles did like a 2-hour. He covered the whole thing, and he did an entire 2-hour segment on it, where you find an awful lot more about it. But yes, they were taken advantage of. The documentary producers behaved appallingly with them. These people should never have got involved. Miles shouldn't have encouraged them to get involved. I refuse to get involved. I really think it's a terrible, terrible program. It's a terrible idea to have anything to do with these damn mainstream media TV production companies. Honestly, if you're going to, I made this point actually in several videos. If you're going to go on TV, go on a live show. Go on. If you're invited to go onto a live broadcast, go. It's worth doing it. Gary Heseltine does that. He did a great live debate with Professor Chris French, who I'm going to see actually in a couple of weeks. I'm going to go to one of his shows. But if you ask to take part in a documentary where it's all filmed beforehand and edited, forget it. Say no. Unconditionally, just say absolutely not. So yeah, I wish that hadn't happened, that particular documentary, but it did. And it's in the past now, but yeah, I agree with the last bit you said. The rest of it, though, you're talking crap. You really are. Rachel's Eyes book review. Pauline Phillips said, "I read it and enjoyed it. I think I will reread it." Oh, good. I'm glad you did. I really did love that book. I really thought it was excellent. Okay, Lime Specs says, now this is the Lapis Conference 2019. I think this is one of my longest videos of the year, actually. Lime Specs says, I'm looking forward to this one, Ben. All right. Cool. Oh, thank you very much. I enjoyed doing that. I mean, I didn't think it would come out that long. I mean, a sensible, probably more professional filmmaker than myself would probably edit stuff out. But I didn't. But it's over 5 hours in the end. But I think everything was in there. I think is good. And of course, if it's a long video, you don't have to watch it all in one go. Jack Dawes says on Lapis Conference 2019, pretty cheap. I don't think so. Rip off. It wasn't actually. It was like, I think it was only it was about 40 quid or something for the weekend. I think that's pretty reasonable for a weekend conference. I think that's not bad at all. Right, Jack Parker says on the same video, in regards to your dad being married to your mother for 38 years. Oh, right, yeah. I remember now. In the video, I go on a bit of a tangent when I'm walking along the beach and I talk about some of my family problems because basically you guys are the only people I can talk to them about. Jack says, in regard to your dad being married to your mother for 38 years, it's not what you say, it's what you mean that's important. We are not playing a board game with rules. Okay, I'm not sure what you refer to there, but Okay, but what you say is important and what you mean. Those things are. Same video, Jack Daw says £5.50 for a 24-hour ticket, Ben. Well worth it. Cheaper than getting into the conference. £5.50 for what? For a 24-hour ticket? I don't know what you mean. Oh, anyway. Jack Parker says on the Lapis Conference 2019, my mother and father, same scenario. My mother passed away. Only way they were divorced. We don't witness the private moments of our parents. In perspective, we're only discovering our emotions at the time of observations, not really capable of discerning. Yeah, I do, and I'm sorry your mum and dad. I'm sorry you lost your mother. That's sad. If you're close to her, as I wasn't, it's sad. And indeed, I mean, I can only comment on my family life the way I see it. I don't know what it's like to be inside a relationship between two people. In perspective, we're only discovering our emotions at the time of observation, not capable of discerning. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the thoughts and feelings I have from my mother and my father have come out since she died. It's like something that was subconscious at the time, which has emerged since then. David Gregg says, give her the book again this year. Well, as you can see, David, unfortunately I donated it to that charity shop. But actually, in my Christmas video, I watched my Christmas video because you'll find out that this Christmas was actually a hell of a lot better than last Christmas. And Fairy Trish says underneath, yep, I would. He. I was tempted, I was really tempted. I don't mind telling you. Okay. Susan Hayward Tonkin. Hi, Susan. How are you? And I got your message earlier. I know you're having a difficult time at the moment, so I'm very sorry to hear that. I really am. But Susan says on Lapis Conference 2019, lovely. I knew a song about Blackpool I learnt as a child. All I remember of it is Mr. and Mrs. Shirley's sister won a prize at Blackpool prom. All right, I don't know that one, Susan, but it's worth it. If you're ever in the country, come. I know you live on the other side of the world, but if you ever get to Britain, do come to that. Jack Dorset says £5.50 bus and tram ticket, Blackpool transport, tram to Stargate, then bus across the road to YMCA, 24 hours. Oh right. I see. Oh, you're referring to the. Oh, I see. You're not referring to the entrance fee. You're referring to what I paid for the tram. Is that right? Is that what you mean? I see. Okay. Right. Odds and Sods says on Lapis. Even if she, your dad's partner, did feel like she might be Q&A'd or in for a future deeper discussion. Even if she did feel like she might be Q&A'd in for a deep, that's no way to behave, especially on Christmas Day. There are many ways to bypass future discussion whilst being nice, but at the end of the day, she's the one with the issues, not you, Ben, mate. Oh, thank you, Odds. Yeah, that's true. I appreciate that. I do. I actually do feel a hell of a lot better about it now. I mean, it wasn't just giving that book away may have helped, but really, I think it was this Christmas that's just gone that has really helped. It really has. It's helped enormously because we got on fine. It was absolutely fine. Everything went lovely. There was a much nicer atmosphere in the house, in their house this particular Christmas. As you'll know when you watch my Christmas video, which I'm coming to shortly. Susan Hayward Tonkin says, both my sons talk regularly to me. It's my daughter who wants nothing to do with me. Oh, right, I'm sorry about that, Sue. I'm sorry. I'm guessing you're not a feminist either then. But I really am sorry your daughter and you are gone separate ways. It's family, family relationships are different to other people's types of relationships. Anyway, Jack Parker says on Lapis as well, buy a present for your father's friend that they both can use. Try to avoid your father turning to you and saying you jackass. Yeah. I didn't want to put my dad. You see, I didn't want to put my dad in that position. Do you know what I mean? I think I explained this. He is in love with her, and to be honest, she actually does love and respect him. I think she's, as I explained, I'm quite pleased. I think they are quite a good couple. I think she's quite a good partner for him. Yes, she's bombastic and pushy, but then that's my dad. As I explained, my dad wouldn't be attracted to a woman who wasn't like that. But she is sincere. She's not malevolent. So that makes her very different from my mother. Gifts are meant to be given as a formality for the most part. There is an emotional adjustment in us that sometimes hasn't been made, evolves into decorum. Yeah, the gifts thing. Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's always. It is a kind of ritual, isn't it? A formality, like you say. I buy things for people. Sometimes I make up my mind what to buy them at the last minute, and I think, oh God, I hope that's all right. And I know I've got a chance that half of them get thrown away. It's as I explained, It's as for emotional adjustment, yeah. I feel better about it since I made that video, and as I said, it's because of the Christmas that's just gone. That woman is not your mother. Yes, thank God. Pronovious question. Do you have some underlying buried feelings against mother or even female figures? And it's not really underlined or buried, is it? I mean, my mother, not female figures in general, but my mother. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. It's not buried anymore. It was buried, you see. I would never have said or thought the things that I've been saying and thinking in the last few years before she died. She died a long time ago, 2006. It just never occurred to me. It really didn't. Female figures in general, no. I'm not an anti-feminist because I hate women or anything like that. Complacent belief. I don't know what you mean by complacent belief, meaning that I have like a bias, which is, of course, I'm not immune to that. No one is, as I've explained in my skeptic videos. Jack says, exception that we all are not, exception that we all are not flawed in some way, and can we decide which flaw to recognise? Ironic typo. I left the word Pronovious in there. All right. What did you mean except apart from Pronovious? I don't know what Pronovious means. As for flaws to recognise, very often it is other people who spot things before others do. I mean, for example, I was in a very, very bad mental state when I was in my sort of late teens or in the early 20s, and I think I've talked about this, about the memory loss I had. It was somebody actually that would go up to me and said, "Ben, what's wrong with you? Look at you. You're wearing a T-shirt. It's hanging off you like rags. You used to fill that T-shirt, and look at you now." And things like that. And I couldn't see it, and they could. Sometimes, if you can see yourself through the eyes of others, you do. It is enlightening. I think probably there are certain things about me that I'm not aware of, which other people can see. Sometimes bad things, sometimes good things, and things like that. But regardless, it doesn't make me any different to anyone else, I would say. Okay, I'm just going to get myself some dragon juice. One moment. I didn't fill my glass up at the break, so I'm going to do it now. That's interesting, that this idea of... This is why I try not to be too judgmental. I mean, I don't believe that my dad's partner actually meant any harm. I don't... As I say, she doesn't strike me as a malevolent person, but I can't help being wary. You can't. It's because of my dad's past, because of his own nature. As I'll explain in there, how I think he's very vulnerable, especially to malevolent women or malevolent people in general. He's very vulnerable to those people. As I said, I've mentioned other things about Centaur, about Isabel Menzies' live. He's an open door. He's a lower drawbridge. Anyway, Lapis. Jack Parker also says on Lapis, another word, altruistic. Try not to presume or maybe even disrespect your father. To lash out against his beloved friend without speaking to him about this beforehand. Yeah, I mean, I haven't lashed out at her. I have not, and I probably would not do so unless it was necessary. And indeed, I would probably talk about him privately first. So yeah, I think that is actually worthwhile. That's a worthwhile advice there, Jack, and I accept it. Jack says, by telling him you're going to fuck up his chances of having female encounters, and further disrespect by presuming that he's not the better judge of that, possibly it's best to courage up and realise the brighter side of the story for your father. Yeah, I know, it's true. And I wouldn't tell him that. I mean, the only reason I talked about it on the video is because I know he never watches my channel. I I wouldn't want to fuck up his chances of having female encounters. I just want to protect him. That's all I want to do. And as I said in the video, I know the way to protect him is to boost his self-esteem. You can warn him as much, you can warn people as much as you like, but if they believe deep down that they're not worthy of a respectful and a kind and nurturing partner, they won't go out and get one. So, but presuming that he's not the better judge of that, well, I'm sorry to say it, Jack, I don't think he is at the moment. As for the brighter side, yeah, I am looking on the brighter side of it. I'm looking on the brighter side that he has found someone who is at least not malevolent. He's found someone who at least respects him. Who is, as I said, she's difficult. She threw a Christmas present back in my face. She's bossy with him, but she's not evil. She's not evil. She's not messed up. She's not a fucking narcissistic psychopath. So yes, realise the brighter side of the story for your father. Yes, Jack, absolutely, I agree. Jack also says truth is critically important here. I know. It's critically important everywhere. Odds and Sods says on Lapis, I have my own Mandela effect. Oh, you said something about Mandela effect earlier on, didn't you? When the chain Weatherspoons broke out in the UK, I distinctly remember pubs called Witherspoons. I remember it written up and light up outside the one near Moorfield Station in Liverpool on a Christmas works party 1998 to 99, and I put it down to misheard telephone calls when first telling the landlord it'll be called Witherspoons. What is it? Is it Weatherspoons or Witherspoons? Oh, blimey, hang on. It is Weatherspoons. J.D. Weatherspoon, that's it. Founded 1979, a national chain of of independent cooperative pubs. Yes, it's a pub company, yes, but it's like the nicer shops. It's not a chain. It's not like a corporation. It's a network of free houses. And Tim Martin is a Brexiteer. The guy who founded it, he's a Brexiteer. Yeah. Lapis Paranormal. Oh, right, I've got the people that they themselves are speaking. And Lapis Paranormal says, many thanks for sharing this, Ben. I hope it gives everyone an idea of what the Lapis conference is all about. If you like the look of this, we are interested in Lapis 2020. Like our Facebook page, Lapis Conference 2020, for all the latest reviews. Oh, thank you very much. The people themselves appreciate what I've done, haven't they? Yeah. So thank you very much for that. And here we have... Oh, Rabbit again. Is 9/11 Truth Poem. My goodness me, this is an old one. Who's that skinny young chap there? This is a video I made years ago. Well, hang on, let me just find out. I think it's one of my early ones. I haven't had a comment on there for ages. Yes, it's a video I made in, where is it? 9/11 Truth Poem. Details. When did I make this? Oh, a long time. Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, it is. I'll find out.
Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity.
Oh, 24th of February 2009. My goodness me, 11 years ago. And it's Wikipedia have got the September 11th attacks there. Have you noticed Wikipedia are putting all their automatic additions to the comments boxes? Have you noticed that of various videos? They put in these comments boxes. Like links. If you do a thing about something controversial, YouTube will put a Wikipedia automatically into your comments box, whether you like it or not. You don't get to put it in there; they decide. So yeah, they've done that with this particular video. They put in the official Wikipedia page about the September 11th attacks. Just so people won't get the wrong idea. Yeah. Mark Crane. Oh, hang on. It's round. It's just hourglassing again. It does this every so often. Fear not, ladies and gentlemen, fear not. Mark Crane says on the Lapis conference, well, my shift at work went quick with this one. All right, okay. Are you one of these? Do you have a job where you're able to watch videos? Well, that's pretty good, mate. Honestly, to be honest, some night shifts when I was a porter, I could as well. I could watch videos and things. Not all the time, but every so often I'd be like, there'd be nothing to do, and like we just sit down and watch TV, and think, my goodness, or we put on a film or something, and we watch a movie, and we think, hey, this is great, isn't it? We're sitting in the Porter's Lodge, we're watching a movie, and we're getting paid to do it. Yeah. So I got that was kind of that was kind of one of the perks. Maybe you got a similar job, which is great. Just at the hourglass, it's getting over the hourglass thing again, because I just went and had a quick look at the OBS recorder, and it doesn't like it. It gets a little bit uppity. This particular uppity, it gets uppity. This particular web page. Emlyn-Jones said the word uppity the other day, and he got like cancelled for it. He was like in trouble. He was politically incorrect in some way. I don't know exactly why. Come on, hurry up. Right, paste. Here we go. Let's go up here. It's just really slow when you even when you just move away from the page briefly, it throws a wobbly. It's because I got so many comments on it, and I'm still near the bottom. As it'll get easier actually as I go through this video and I go through the comments. So paste, hourglass. That's it. And I can click reply now. Let me just click reply. There we go. Right, this is another UK Probe. Oh my goodness, this is a really old one. UK Probe 2011. My goodness me. Part 3. Oh, this is in the old days when I used to do different parts. David Barker says the website link is going to a different website unless it's been hacked. Well, David, David, I suggest you just put in Phoenix Probe International, and you'll find today's website. Bear in mind, this this is an old video from 2011. It's 9 years old. That website's not anymore, and I can't go through all my old publications, all my old comments, and all comments boxes, and all of my notices, and just edit every single comment. I'm afraid there's going to be some dead links in some of the stuff that I've done. Israel Diego Rivera Genius says on Lapis Conference 2019 that comedian that hosted the Conspiracy Files is on I'm a Celebrity. He's obviously a British agent. The UFFO movement seems to be full of shills. Oh right, I think it means UFO, not UFFO. The comedian that hosts the Conspiracy Files. I mean, do you mean Andrew? What's his name? Andrew Maxwell. Yeah, that's Irish guy who. If you're talking about the BBC Conspiracy Road Trip, then yeah, that guy, the comedian, they got to host that particular series. And is he on I'm a Celebrity? Let's have a look. I'm curious, actually. He's a bloody twat anyway, Andrew Maxwell. Here we go. Andrew Maxwell is an Irish comedian and narrator, known for narrating. Let's have a look. He started off at the Comedy Cellar in Dublin, the panel which ran on RTE1, X on the Beach, the history series Al Murray, Why Does Everyone Hate the English, King of Comedy, blah-de-blah-de-blah. He hosts a weekly gig, Full Mooners, Edinburgh Festival, Russell Brand, Simon Pegg, etc. Let's see. He was in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. He was, you're right. And he was in the latest one, 2019. But you know what? Actually, Diego, I don't actually watch things like that. I can't bear these damn programs. I really can't bear those kinds of programs. Anyway, the guy was I don't know if he's funny or not. He was not funny in this series. He was like I'm on a quest now. You got these people here who believe in UFOs. I'm pretty skeptical, but I'm going to take them on a trip across the America with this coach to see if I can change their minds. And this is the series that they asked me to be on. That series, they actually wrote to me and asked if I wanted to take part. I declined. Lapis 2019. James Holmes says, "Fucking hell, I'm from Blackpool. I wish I'd known about this. Hey James, come along to the next one, mate, or come along to Probe in March. It's the last one ever. So it's your last chance to actually experience, right, the wonder that is Probe. That's going to be a sad video when I make that one." Miles Lawler says on Lapis, what's this? Mars Laura says Lapis Conference 2019 reportage in association with, and there's a timestamp here. I don't know what he means here. I'm just going to go to the timestamp. Let's have a look. Right, just open it in a new tab and see what it says. Oh, it's my sponsors are a lorry that was driving past my coach. Yeah, the big Scottish Midge. Hi, Midge. Good to see you again. Lapis says, great film about the Tasmanian tiger called The Hunter with William Dafoe. All right. The Hunter with William Dafoe. What's that called then? What's that then, Midge? Let me just check. That with Willem the Hunter. Willem Dafoe. Here we go. The Hunter official trailer. 2011 Australian film. A drama film based on a 1999 novel by Julia Lee. The mercenary Martin Davis is hired by a biotech company to gather samples of the thylacine. Oh wow, this looks good. Instructions to kill all remaining Tasmanian tigers to ensure no competing organisation will get their DNA. Oh my god, it's Richard Freeman sees it. I'll have to send this to Richard Freeman. This looks good. Oh, this looks damn good. Yeah. Midge, I think that'll probably make me cry my eyes out and really enthrall me at the same time. Probably have a big Boudica moment or something. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for recommending that. I'll check that out. Fairy Trish says on, I'll give Midge a love heart there for that. Fairy Trish says on Lapis, hi Ben, great video again. Thank you. Yes, you maybe should go a day early and go on the ghost tour. That would be very interesting. Oh yeah, I mean that's right on on what's his name, Mercer. The not Andy Mercer, the other Mercer. Oh God, yeah, I'll give you a love heart too. That was really quite embarrassing. That was. It was really embarrassing. This guy called Mercer, not Andy Mercer. Lapis says. JC Nahundi says on Lapis Conference, I've been subscribed to you for over a decade, but you talk too much shite nowadays that I'm out of here. I wish you unlimited success in the future. Well, thank you, JC, and goodbye. And I'm very sorry that you feel the need to leave me behind. I hope you've enjoyed the videos for over a decade. You think I'm talking shite? I don't think I do talk shite. But everyone is obliged to come and go as they please, as far as my channel is concerned. So goodbye. See you then. All the best. Emlyn-Jones says on Lapis, I'm not sure I would have given my ex-mother-in-law a book with that title. I actually really loved my ex-mother-in-law, and I loved her a lot more than my actual mother, and when she died I was very sad. I remained very close to her actually through the rest of her life. I was very, very sad when she died, as opposed to my mother. I've actually got I won't show you the photo actually. I've got a photo of her on my mantelpiece, and I don't have one of my mum. And I'm sure, I don't know, my dad's only been in here once, but he did see that, and I don't know if he noticed that. Anyway, but I wouldn't have given her that either. But it all depends on who they are, Emma, you know. Lol, even though I would have been very appreciative of it if I was given it as a present. Oh, because I like reading about UFOs and aliens. I know. Well, you see, Emma, I thought she was as well. I misjudged her. I misunderstood her, and I gave her a book that she didn't like. You know, because I thought she was more open-minded, and I won't make that mistake again. But well, what can you do? You can't please everyone, and she was exceptionally horrible about it. Yeah, I think she was out of order. She was out of order. But as I said, I feel a lot better about it now. This Christmas has been very healing, I think, because I spent a lot of time with her and my dad, and we got on a lot better. Melvin Sherman says on Computing Forever Born Again, a reply to Kevin Logan. I very much like that video. I'm very pleased I did it. It's one of my favourites actually from last year. Melvin Sherman says, for the records, I am agnostic, but I do have my own fake religion, aka the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Oh, you're a Flying Spaghetti Monster believer, are you, Melvin? Or as what Richard Dawkins calls, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Yes. And the invisible pink unicorn orbiting Jupiter. Yeah. I made him sound like Patrick Moore there. No, I shouldn't really, should I? But yeah, the Flying Spaghetti Monster is actually an official religion. But it is like a kind of anti-religion. It's a satirical parody of a religion. But they've done it. The reason they've done it is because just simply to take the mickey out of religions and religious people. For example, one of them, they call themselves Pastafarians. He won the legal right. It's a German guy. He won the legal right to have his passport photograph taken with a colander on his head because he said it was a symbol of his religion, which is the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. I must admit, I find that sort of thing funny. I do, even though it's rather juvenile and theologically, it's a very weak kind of argument they're giving. I still think it's very, very funny. Alright, ASAP Seriously Strange Conference. Oh my goodness me, this is a really old one. This is from 2011. I remember this very well. It was just before I got kicked out of poultry. Stephen Criddle, Proper Paranormal, says, "Hey, give Dave a nudge, mate." Who's this? And there's a link here to a YouTube channel.
Right, let's have a go on.
Oh, Stephen Criddle. I actually do. Oh, I actually do subscribe to this guy. Right. I'll just say hi, Stephen. I'll put this on his comment. Thanks for your comment on my video about ASAP in Bath. I've not watched this video, mind you, but this could be something taking the mickey out of me, I don't know. But thanks very much, Stephen. Much appreciated. I'll just put in a little comments reply thing here for him. And I've just commented on his video. So you went to this as well. I've not been to one since 2011, Stephen, but it was really good. I really enjoyed. I went there with Sue Stain and Richard Wright, who you may know from other videos that I've been in. I'm still in touch with him. Lapis Conference 2019, Odds and Sods says, have you still got memorabilia or souvenirs from Probe 2006? And if so, can you make a video on them if you can find or dig them out? Oh my goodness me. You know, I don't think I have. If I have any, then they're probably lying at the bottom of some drawer somewhere, or maybe they're in my old place where I used to live, or maybe I put them in my dad's attic like I did some of my other stuff. So I honestly don't think I can, Odds. I might be able to, but I don't know. But Patrick says here on Lapis Conference 2019. Oh! It is the end of another 2 hour. It's the end of another hour period. So I'll reply to this briefly, and then we'll start another one. Although I'll take a little break in between. Taking a break every hour is not a bad idea, actually. But Patrick says, Ben, you're a good guy through and through. You've got a big heart, and that's what makes you a very beautiful human being. Always stay positive and keep remembering the good times. Be strong and love always. Laugh often like you already do, and you'll be all right. Trust me, good things are coming your way. I really hope you have a good Christmas this year with your family and friends. You deserve it. Oh man, I've got no words for that, Patrick Patel. I really don't, except to give you a big love heart. And of course I wish the same to you. Okay, time to take a little break now. Okay, so that's all working well. Yes, it is. Right, so we'll come back for hour number 3 very shortly. Alright, so we're back and we're going to talk about hour number 3 now. And Odds and Sods. This is on the Lapis Conference 2019 video. And let's just get over its hourglassing, because I happened to glance away and look at... I had to actually start. I was just starting the... Funny, I start the... If I go to like OBS like this, and I go back to my browser, and it starts. That's when it does it. It's weird. It starts hourglassing. So I just got to wait for that's it. So Odds and Sods says on Lapis Conference 2019, did Ray Archer ever get to be a speaker? I found the vids with him fascinating. No, Ray didn't. Ray's never been a speaker there. Now, Ray is someone I he does his he shows me his notebook and things, and they always say, you know, you get, it's like a probe tradition, you know, at some point you're going to get caught in a corner with Ray Archer and he's going to show you his notebook. And I can't, to be honest, I don't understand half of what he says, and I believe even less. But to me, he says, I think you could call him a goodwill ambassador for the UFO paranormal conspiracy theory community, and I can't bring myself to turn him away. Like I said, I mean, I've said on previous videos, you know, I've known psychopaths, I've known malicious people who are destructive. One, you know, what harm is there in some eccentric, maverick, sort of like unusual person? I mean, I don't understand why most people are so intolerant of people like Ray, because they act a bit weird and they say strange things. I have known people like who want to ruin me, ruin my family. They dedicate their lives to that in some cases. And generally people like that, destructive psychopaths, abusive people, they are generally across society, they are more tolerable, they're more tolerated, more often tolerated, or even venerated all the time, whereas people who things are not, they're not anyway. People like Ray are castigated. This is from Edwardian Lady. Hi Edwardian Lady on Lapis Conference. Good to hear from you again. She says, really appreciate these videos, Ben. Would you consider putting a link for us to donate you on PayPal? Oh, well, you know, I need to I appreciate that, I really do, and I need to get that sorted, because I had to take the old PayPal thing down because it wasn't working properly. It's one of these things that I've been, if you listen to HPANWO Radio, I've been meaning to do for ages. I mean, I haven't. You could write to me, bennyj74@gmx.co.uk, and I'll give you instructions if you feel like slipping me from some small change, and I appreciate that. But you're right, Edwardian Lady, it's something I need to get on with. Shadow banned by YouTube, a new video. David Gregg says, I think I'm the same with Twitter, Ben. Yeah, David, yeah, I mean, people on Twitter have made exactly the same complaint. That you start talking about certain things, and you suddenly find your impressions go down. It's exactly the same. Impressions are like the viewing figures of YouTube. It's how many people are viewing your tweets, and in your shares and your retweets and things like that. They all go down. And it doesn't matter how many followers you have, the same thing happens. I mean, my subscriber count has actually risen in the last year. I mean, I do lose subscribers, like Nahundi, whatever he's called, DJ Nahundi. People do walk away from me, that's fine, but the number of people joining is more. My subscriber count has gone up steadily. It's gone up about 2,000 actually since in the last year or so. But my view, you know, I'm still affected by this. As I explained in my video, the statistics show that I have been shadow banned. Diego Rivera says YouTube is run by Mossad. It's certainly run by various people involved in psychological warfare, intelligence agencies. Not just one, I think, Diego Rivera. But at the higher level, you'll find that Mossad, the CIA, they all sort of blend into one. Okay. Edwardian Lady says on the same video, YouTube is dead, isn't it? If you define dead as boring and staid and conventional and narrow-minded and censorious, then yes, it is, Edwardian Lady, totally. But BZ Garson says under here, nope, record number of visits this year to YouTube. It's thriving. Perhaps the conspiracy theorist bubble and echo chamber are dying, but you lot represent an almost incalculable tiny percentage of the total number of other topics available to your average YouTube user. I really don't think you understand just how much a huge amount of content is uploaded, even on an hourly basis, let alone 24/7, year in, year out. Alright, BZ, you're partly right there. In fact, someone told me that there's up to 200 hours of YouTube material is uploaded every minute. This was actually at a Skeptic conference I learned that, when I went to a Skeptic conference. So you are actually right, it is increasing. YouTube are, if you define thriving as becoming a very, very profitable mainstream business within the corporate hierarchy, then yes, it is. But I don't think that's what Edwardian Lady meant, and neither do I. Now, the conspiracy theorist bubble, as you call it, or it goes by various other names. No, I mean, I understand what I think you're being. It's a rather insulting way of putting it, but I understand what you mean. I do understand what you mean. Now, it's always interesting if you log out and clear your cookies and then go back to a YouTube page, you will find like all kinds of different videos which have nothing to do with any of your interests. Of course, when you actually watch YouTube regularly, especially if you have an account and you log in, but even if you don't, you have preference cookies and things like that that are automatically downloaded to your computer as you're watching YouTube. So whether you have an account or not, you still get this. Means that the platform will actually deliberately channel particular kinds of videos to you based on the kinds of videos you've already watched. So there's an automatic profile built up on you. It's rather like spam dexing. And these things are sent to you. So if you are like me and you're interested in conspiracy theories, UFOs, paranormal, radical politics and things like that, then that's the kind of videos that will be sent your way. If you're not, you won't get them. So I do understand that. The thing is, you say it's a tiny, incalculable tiny percentage of the total number of topics available. Yes, but then you could say the same for anything on YouTube. You could say the same for people who are interested in the felt hat manufacturing industry. Let me just do this as an experiment. I'm going to open up a YouTube browser. Actually, I'll do it on. I'm logged in there, so I won't do it there. I'll do it on Internet Explorer, which I haven't used for ages. There's probably no cookies on this. So let's just try this. Let's think of something really felt hat manufacturing. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good one. So I'm going to try this now. BZ. Okay, as a sort of fringe interest. Supposing I was a felt hat manufacturer. Felt hat to make here. Felt hat making. I already get it. Felt hat making. Felt hat making. Felt hat making. How to make a wet felt hat. How beaver felt hats are made, wet fat hat making, how to make a wet felt hat block, how Stetson cowboy hat is made, how I made a hat, celebrity hat maker, wet felting, making a Kubra hat. There's another page. There's another page. There's pages and pages of it here. You know why? Because I put in that search algorithm. So yes, I do understand that, but the thing about it is, and I mean, you say it in an insulting manner here. The conspiracy theorist bubble and echo chambers are dying. No, they're not dying. They are. The thing is, these are things that I consider. See, these are things that are, and the point I'm making here, and I think Edwardian Lady understands this, is that certain interest categories of the type you talked about. That is what you describe as a bubble or echo chamber. Certain types of those are not just they're not being viewed simply because people don't have an interest in it. Like, I don't normally look at felt hat manufacturing, so I don't see many felt hat making videos. The only reason I looked at them now is because the subject came up. The thing about it is, what would happen if I was browsing normally and somebody in YouTube decided that people shouldn't be allowed. They didn't actually like the idea of felt hat making. They found it offensive. Felt hat making is offensive. It's inappropriate. It's problematic. It's dangerous. It might result in harm. So we're going to make sure that fewer people look at felt hat making. So let's do that. Okay. So once you've done that, sure, if I go and search for felt hat making, I'll find felt hat making. But if I'm into other kinds of hats, for example, trilbies or boaters, I won't come across the felt hat so much because the felt hat stuff is offensive. Now, that is what we mean by dead. If you were a felt hat manufacturer, YouTube would be dead to you because it's no longer doing what you enter into a user contract with this private company. All this, well, they're a private company, they can do whatever they like, all that sort of rubbish, alright? It's not true. You enter in a user contract. It's exactly the same as these people say this. Funnily enough, they don't say that about Ash's Bakery in Northern Ireland because a branch of Ash's Bakery said they didn't want to make a cake for a gay wedding. And suddenly these very same people said, "Oh, but you've got to. I don't care if you're a private company, you've got to." So again, that's an aside there, but it's another example of a double standard. But no, in the case of YouTube, you enter it. This is affecting not people who are just joining YouTube only. It's affecting people who are already existing users of YouTube who have a user contract. They enter into our user contract, and now YouTube are unilaterally breaking that contract. That is a debt. That is dead. To me, that is dead, and this is why lots of us are moving to other platforms such as BitChute and things like that. BitChute especially. BitChute is now my principal secondary video uploading site. I'm going to start opening accounts on some of the others as well. So if YouTube don't want us, we'll go somewhere else, basically, and they don't. So when Edwardian Lady says YouTube is dead, I understand what she means. It's dead to us. It's dead to people like us. Jack Daw says on shadow banned by YouTube. Facebook do it as well. Remember, folks, any pic you put on FB, they're not yours. FB now own them. All right. Check the T&C small print. Oh, I see. Do you mean it then becomes their intellectual property? Really? I'll check. I will check the terms and conditions small print. Okay, but I didn't know that. I really didn't. The way they get around these social media giants, is they refuse to specify whether they're a platform or a publisher, because legally those are two very different things. They sort of sit on the fence and get the best of both worlds. Stephen Truthseeker says, you're a shadow person. I don't think I am, Stephen, but I do believe in shadow people. I think they're real. Videos from the Underground says on shadow banned, the next shadow banning is making your channel invisible to those people in your country. That is if you're really bad. Aspire for it. You know what, videos? This is going to go on. It's going to get worse. They're doing it in increments. Pretty soon, I mean, I'm thinking of maybe doing another one maybe this time next year, or a year after I did this one, and see if the stats have changed, because it's possible more conditions and more restrictions will have been placed on me. The same video, Ravenhood, the Hooded Mystic, 1044 AD says, I hope your channel will be alright, Ben. I really enjoy your work. Oh, thanks, Ravenhill. I'm going to give you a love heart for that. I hope so too, and I really appreciate your interest. And with any luck, or who knows, I mean, maybe Trump will get his arse into gear and do something about this. Maybe he'll do something about it, and then something will, you know, this thing that he's always says he's promising will actually be done. I know that there's a guy called, what's his name? Oh, it's Mike Cernovich, and a couple of other people who I've talked a bit about Cernovich before, have actually instituted a lawsuit against YouTube to try and get them to define who they are, publisher or platform. Mark Crane says, is it BitChute, Ben? Oh, well, BitChute, I don't know what you mean but by the question, but BitChute is essentially it's a free speech YouTube. It's like YouTube, peer-to-peer system. I'm over there if you want to see me. In fact, I double up every video onto BitChute these days, and I'm uploading a lot of my back catalogue on there as well. BitChute is peer-to-peer, so it's very cheap to run, very difficult to get rid of because it doesn't have a host, and it's set up. It was actually set up by YouTube refugees as an alternative YouTube. I think it's an excellent idea. And Steve Mumbling here says on shadow banned by YouTube, what he has to say about this. It's a bad idea to fill impressionable people's heads with the absolute rubbish we see on some channels like Moon Landings Were Fate, etc. Johnston's channel should be deleted. He publishes any old rubbish just like for Google ad money. Alright. So you're saying now, are you saying that's right, you say it's not a good idea to fill who you call impressionable people as heads, so people you disagree with, or people who may be thinking about the same things you are and coming, maybe edging towards different conclusions, with what you call absolute rubbish, which is things you disagree with on some channels, meaning of course mine. Whereas I've never ever said anything like that about your channel. I've never ever said that about a skeptic channel. I've never once done or said anything that would lead a skeptic YouTube channel to be harmed or shadow banned in any way. And you're saying that Miles Johnston's channel should be deleted. Why? He publishes any old rubbish, things you disagree with, for Google ad money. Do you know how much money he makes? I mean, I won't tell you because this is all private, but do you realise that how much easier it would be for Miles, with his considerable talents and his knowledge, to make more money doing other things? Do you realise he used to work in the mainstream media, and he could go back there, and he doesn't. And you want to delete the channel. You actually want to shut down something which does not make you the injured party in any way because you disagree with it. Publishing drug-addled and harmless delusional SSP and other fantasists is one thing. Again, rhetoric, no argument. SSP's secret space program. But his latest nonsense about a free energy device is nothing more than an out-and-out con. Well, you know, I haven't looked at that. I know you're talking about the Tesla machine, all right? I haven't looked at it in detail, but there's many other things you call out-and-out cons which I don't agree with. Promoting the GoFundMe page for that absolute rubbish is a really bad idea. Not really, Steve, because it might be real. I mean, this was a debate that came up years and years ago on the old David Icke forum when it came to Steorn and the Orbo machine. At the end of the day, you know, I haven't given them any money, and I wouldn't give them any money until I was very convinced that it was something legitimate. If you Google one particular person mentioned on that page, you will see he's been peddling this Tesla free energy nonsense for years, if not decades. It's a deliberate con to get cash from the gullible Google Eric Dollard, and you'll see what I mean. Oh, Dollard! Oh, that came up before, didn't it? I thought you said Pollard, and I put Pollard in there. I was on another video. It's Dollard, is it? All right. Eric Pollard is a character from Emmerdale, the soap opera, which I never watch. Professor, quote-unquote, Eric Dollard isn't a real professor. He has no academic credentials at all. He's an ex-Navy radar tech. Eric Dollard would be a more appropriate name for him. Ian Murakami, the name on the GoFundMe page, have been collecting investment money for free energy devices, etc., 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 for many years. Of course, they never deliver. They're always on the cusp of success, but they need your money to make the suppressed Tesla tech available to all. But to be honest, Steve, I don't know much about this particular case, all right? But I'm not going to give them any money until I do. Now the new guy, Johnston, is promoting. Townley is in with them. Ask yourself why the top of the device, the Tesla turbine, is in clear plastic moulding and the rest of the device is inside an opaque wooden box. It's because there's a motor with a battery and other power supply feeding it from inside the wooden box. Alright. Really? Okay, well, Steve, I'm well aware of there are frauds involved in this, particularly actually in the old days of perpetual motion, because there were actual real perpetual motion machines which had a hidden clockwork motor inside and things like that. There's a good documentary actually called A Machine to Die For. It's a good documentary you should watch. I don't know about this particular case. Obviously, look, if what you're saying is true, I'll be the first to call them out on it. Okay, it's embarrassingly awful. Sorry, it says here, it's embarrassingly awful. There's no such thing as free energy. This thing is not being powered by any water vapor in the air. It's nonsense. Well, yes, there is such thing as free energy. Powered by water, well, I suggest you look up Victor Schauberger. And I think it is a real thing. It is definitely a real thing. But as for this particular case, I can't tell you. But your censorship, your call for censorship, Steve, is totally and utterly despicable. Shame on you for that. David Smith says, conspiracy theorists, quote, scientists are wrong, they are part of the NWO cover-up, suppressed, can't prove me, him, her, them wrong, their consensus on global warming, stroke supernatural concepts, other extraordinary conspiracy theories, based on all the clear evidence is wrong, false, unquote. Alright, let's unpack this, shall we, David? Scientists are wrong. Scientists are not all part of the New World Order cover-up. I've explained that earlier. It's to do with psychology, tacit agreement, Milgram experiment, etc. Watch my video on cancer cures, Dr. Alice Howarth. Suppress can't prove somebody wrong. Okay. So this is like the burden of proof, is it? Right, well, as I explained in my skeptic video, it's not like that. We don't actually, very often, good scholars on our side of the debate do not say, well, you can't prove me wrong, therefore I must be right. We don't say that. We make positive claims, not negative claims. Consensus on global warming. I've gone into that in detail on many other videos. Supernatural concepts. Paranormal research. I've covered that as well. Other extraordinary conspiracy theories based on all the clear evidence is wrong, false. I don't know what you mean by that at all, but I think you're making some kind of point here of what conspiracy theorists say. And of course, conspiracy theorists are a large number of people who have lots of different ideas. Some of them believe the Earth is flat. I don't. But you are misrepresenting us grossly here. You really are. A lot of us. Also, he carries on, also conspiracy theorists say, this guy I know swears he, quote, this guy I know swears he was abducted by aliens that gave him the secrets to free energy and I believe him, unquote. I certainly don't fall into that category myself, and I've heard of such things, but it's not very often that sort of thing comes up, David. Again, I think this is a straw man. You're building a straw man here. And Steve Mumbling replies to David, and why wouldn't you? Damn those hacks, Einstein, Maxwell, Newton and Hawking, etc., etc. Damn. Well, firstly, they're not hacks. Those people are scientists. Secondly, I don't damn them. I mean, I've heard a lot about how some of them were wrong, especially Einstein. There's lots of people talk about how Einstein either made some mistakes. I mean, it's actually quite mainstream now. There's a very, very good documentary called Einstein's Biggest Blunder, where they talk about the cosmological constant, and a guy called João Magueixo, who's a Portuguese physicist, has actually undone a lot of Einstein's work on the speed of light and things like that. As for the others, I don't know. I mean, there's enough. If I don't believe Newton I don't damn Newton as a hack. Otherwise, I would actually, I'd fight. If I damned Newton, I wouldn't walk to work. I'd climb up to the top floor of my block of flats, and I would attempt to fly off the roof. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be here to talk about it, would I? Because the force of gravity would have dragged me down to my death. So I don't damn Newton. Maxwell, I don't know much about. Hawking, I actually covered Hawking. I don't know much about, except he's more of a popular personality, not just a scientist, and I covered his death. I remember that anyway. David Smith says in reply, Steve Mumbling, here's a tip. Here is a tip for Ben. If your videos are not in line with scientific consensus, then do what they do. Hang on. Then do what they do. Either change the consensus by displaying clear, fashionable, falsifiable evidence, or change your belief. This is how a rational mind tends to work. Okay. Well, firstly, the second part of that statement has nothing to do with the first. It's got nothing to do with the scientific consensus. You can't change the scientific consensus simply by displaying clear, falsifiable evidence. Right? We know that because I've talked about it many, many times. Watch my skeptic video. Watch my videos about about David Noakes and things like that. Watch my videos about free energy. Watch my videos about many people who do exactly what you say and fail to change the scientific consensus. Sometimes it changes eventually. Sometimes it does not change or hasn't changed yet. Or change your belief. I do change my belief. I mean, on the last episode of the Mindset podcast, I was talking to Gareth Davis, the host, about a change of belief that I actually had. And that is how a rational mind tends to work. But that's the scientific consensus, as I've explained before on my Alice Howarth video, is not created by science done in an intellectual vacuum. That is, an intellectual environment where proper science can be done, not one motivated by economics and politics and human psychology, the failings of natural human psychology. So you're partly right, but there's an internal contradiction in your very comment here. Let us carry on. BitChute, Mark Crane says. Yeah, on the Shadow Banned by YouTube. Yes, that's right. It's spelt with a BITCHUT, not SHOOT. Yeah. Yeah, so that's do get over them. I say to all these people, get over there. There's some people like who are like quite edgy and they don't have BitChute accounts. People like Mayatusi, he doesn't have a BitChute account. I say, get over onto bloody BitChute, man. Get over on there. You need to get on there because a lot of these people get shadow banned by YouTube. Here we go. Right, JoeTube. Oh, this is a long comment here on shadow banned by YouTube. Okay, so let me just I'm not sure I'll be able to read all of this. It depends what it's like, because I mean, I'm sorry, you know, because you go to a lot of trouble to make these comments. Where are we now? Okay. No, you're not. Not being. Am I not being shadow banned? And even if you are, the reason is simple. It's your fault. Really? How come? Mine opinion, you're making too long videos. Oh, I see. So my content has changed over the last 2 years. Over the last year. And this is why. Okay. You're making too long videos. Watched a 4.5-hour video yesterday, but in parts and only 70% of it conference enjoyed. Are you talking about Lapis? Okay. The problem is that the YouTube algorithm is checking. People watched you videos until the end, or are they not? Alright. It's one of the most important factors to decide Boost's algorithm. Do your fans like your content or not? Positioning on recommended list. Alright, you're being a bit incoherent here, but I know what you're saying. You're saying that people's reaction in terms of viewing time, whether they watch to the end, etc., is part of the algorithm sorting system. Alright, it's the filter that puts you where you are on the list. Okay. For the same reason, some big channels such as Mauler and Neurotic, also known for making 11-hour-long podcasts, EFAPs aren't putting those on the main channels to not make negative impact on their main channels. Oh yeah, because some Sargon does this. Sargon of Akkad has his Sargon of Akkad livestream channels. Regardless, those podcasts are great. 60th EFAP was just amazing. Geek and Gamers explained this recently as should be. I don't have a problem with that. Long videos cost YouTube more money to keep on the server. It's more difficult to put ads on, if any. Okay. Okay, I didn't know that, but I don't believe that alone explains my algorithm change, simply because I think I don't know if my video lengths actually been increasing. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. He goes on, I mentioned those channels because those are people not politically correct towards corporations and leftist policy, and they are shadow banned to some degree, yet it's not the only problem there. Regardless, alright, so there may be other factors involved, you're saying. But you said earlier on that I definitely am not shadow banned. Are you sure about that? My content is of the type which has been shadow banned on other channels. So why would I not be shadow banned? Regardless of that, this is a different content from what your channel is about. Another example, look at Richard D. Hall's channel. He used to put videos in parts, disable comments. Videos are 30 minutes long. That's just perfect. He doesn't have to do it like it was required years ago, maximum 10 to 15 minutes. That's true. In the old days, YouTube was restricted to 10 to 15 minutes. Some of the older YouTube videos are still in that format. The reason Richard disabled comments has probably got to do with the trolls he used to get. It's all about the algorithm, plus it's handy for the audience, convenient. We don't need to go back and search at which time I ended listening. I just remember which parts I want to. Maybe you're shadow banned, but maybe people don't have time. I don't know until I've checked whether I am actually making longer videos. I don't think my videos on average are getting longer. I don't know. We don't need to go back and search at which time I ended listening. I just remember which parts I want to watch. I haven't actually noticed that my I haven't actually noticed, I must say, that my longer videos are less popular than my shorter videos. I haven't noticed that. I'll tell you why I watched your video yesterday, even if I didn't have the time. I wanted to focus on something don't think too much about while listening to some guy. Oh right, so I'm a background guy. I'm like these. I know several people, they just rip the audio from some of my videos and they put it on their earphones at work. To be honest, I do that with some YouTubers as well. That's fine, you know. And he says, yeah, I appreciate the story of your life. It was amazing. Personal thoughts, really, for the first time since a long time. I just watched being happy doing so. But most of the time, many people don't want to waste time to dead ends. If I'm not sure it's worth it, most of the time I just put the phone pocket in the... I put the phone in pocket, put headphones, listen to people instead of the radio. Okay. Recently painting my apartment, cleaning and stuff. All right, well, that's what I do. I mean, I don't use my phone. I have like a MP3 player. I put recordings on there rather than actually going online. But yeah, we'll give you another example of two short videos, Brian. Of do you mean two TOO or TWO? Because your spelling and grammar is not very good, I must say. Brian Forster, the Paraka Skulls, etc., or Uncharted X or Tony Heller. They're making short videos 10 minutes long. I see these very often, but they kind of repeating themselves and I'm skipping them. Checking less and less. This things they are strongly written into my consciousness as important, like religion to a priest. Not controversial, not political to some degree, and it's very important for humanity. Yeah, I think they are controversial, even if they're not political. They're about archaeology and science, but they are controversial. But regardless, I'm just skipping to be entertained by someone else. And I feel I'm not the only one as a human being. Maybe, just maybe, your channel is important to your subscribers because your videos are taking too much time. Not so much your subscribers even tries, just like mine. Comments nobody reads. Well, I'm reading your comment, man, mate. What's your name? Joe Tuber. I have to say, I watched all of Jarrah White's Moonfaker series, and I missed that time. Yeah, I watched Jarrah's. I think I've watched all of Jarrah's. Yeah, I think they're very good. I would watch yours if you had similar ones. Well, you mean in terms of length? Because Jarrah's have Jarrah's videos, his Moonfaker videos tended to be quite short. I don't think there was any over 30 minutes. Funnily enough, Sargon of Akkad has started a new channel called Akkad Daily, where he puts up videos, as he said, every day, or sometimes more than one a day, but they're usually only 10 to 20 minutes long. Even 15 minutes long, but focused on some point every episode. For example, 411 missing people in the US. Yeah, that's David Paulides and what he says. Aliens, no caves. I forgot link to the guy's channel. It's David Paulides, yeah. But if you write in the search bar, you'll find it. I know what you mean. Yeah, I know that channel. I know the guy. It's just amazing to know something new and more understanding. Authors of these videos take care. Keep in mind time is precious and people appreciate that and are coming back. Okay, yeah. I know the point you're making here. I would watch your 4.5 hour long video again if it would be divided into parts in such a way that some would be about your thoughts, private, some about the trip only, some about the conference. You wouldn't be banned then, believe me or not. Really? So if I separated into different themes episodes, would the results be different? I'm not sure they would. Now, as for the length, you do have a bookmark system on YouTube. I mean, I use it all the time. If you stop watching a video, go away and come back later, the video will start where you left it on many occasions. And I know many of my viewers actually do that. P.S. To give another example, there's a channel called Apperbend, which is about games and bullshit like Computing Forever. Computing Forever is not bullshit, and he doesn't... Alright, never mind that. But he told the same, his channel is dying, made a comment about it, and guess what? He released a short video about a game, just like making good points like in the old days, and suddenly YouTube put 2 ads at 4 minutes and 12 minutes long. Same thing on the channel of Mr. H Reviewer. He's not politically correct. Somehow they put an ad on every single one of his videos. And no offence, because you're a great guy. Well, thank you very much, Joe Tuber, and I appreciate your input here. Hell's V's Babyface is one of my favourite people on YouTube. Kind of reminds me of you in many ways. The problem is he's making short videos. You? Well, it's like a blog or something. I hope this helps. I'm writing because I care. I appreciate you're not having a go at me here. I really do. That umbrella guy said sharing is caring. I can't because I care. My friends will never watch a 4-hour plus video, so I can comment and hope that will inspire Sincerely Joe. Alright, well, I'll think about what you said, Joe. I'll do maybe some more audits of my videos and I'll see if the stats do match your hypothesis about video length. I will. And as you said, maybe content. Maybe I should do like a Lapis conference video or Lapis journey video where I go through my own thoughts and feelings. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Neptune Returns says in reply to that, Cable Kawi Joe Tuber, you seem to be Chinese or something. He is a little bit. He has a rather strange way of talking, doesn't he? But I agree with you. Years ago, Ben made interesting videos of less than 15 minutes long. Now you need to set aside days to watch them in parts. The Lapis one I gave up on when he was walking on the beach. I don't have time. There are too many UFO related videos which go on for days. I agree about Richard D. Hall. I watch a 3-part video over 3 days. I won't find it tiring. Ben has been Mandela infected and thinks it's normal to do a 55-minute video about YouTube policy. What's important is less is more. Okay, so this is a stylistic criticism, Neptune. And I know you do get frustrated with my long videos. I will think about what you said. I'll think about what you both said here. Right now, I'd say, look, I have a kind of. As for a 55-minute video about this, I mean, I don't believe I include. I say this to you, Joe Tuber, and you, Neptune Returns. I don't believe I include any waste material. I don't think I include any, spare useless baggage. All my content, I think, means something as important is important. Jorge Rodriguez says on Shadowban by YouTube, there's a saying, if you play with fire, you're going to get burnt, and when people try to sell BS, you get shadow banned. So what's the problem? I don't really think that's a very. It's certainly not a fair, but also not really very logical statement you're making here. But people play with fire, you get burnt. Yes. So you say selling BS. You mean saying things on YouTube you don't agree with. So I say things on YouTube I don't agree with, and you call that selling BS. So what you're saying by extension to that is saying things on YouTube you don't agree with means that you deserve to get algorithmed. That's what you're saying, are you? And you say, so what is the problem with that? Where do you want me to start with a problem with that? Where do you want me to start with you actually calling for people you disagree with to be silenced? Why? I've never attacked any skeptic or any communist or anything like that on YouTube. Never. Huge arsehole. I love that. Huge arsehole. H-U-G-H and J-A-R-S-O-L. Just say it yourself quickly. Huge arsehole says free speech. Yeah, they do. They bloody do, I'll tell you, mate. Yeah. Shadowban by YouTube. TD says, if you want to hear the real truth, go to page 1. Oh my goodness me, 1,009,998 after your Google YouTube search. I see your male gender was mostly dominant. Don't they list transgender stats? Oh. I am. What's this? I'm in your 32.9%. My YouTube channel measuring watering cans is doing great, Ben. They misspelt the disclaimer. Hate speech maybe was meant to be free speech. I remember you talking about the measuring watering cans things. Somebody talked about measuring watering cans. I can't remember, but there was like a big. Someone's saying something about it. I can't remember exactly. Let's just check my notes, because I think I'm gonna. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm going to give a little addendum in a minute of extra stuff. Yeah, I remember your YouTube channel about that. And it was. I think you were trying to be satirical about the hate speech thing. Yeah, but they say hate speech all the time, and it's very often hate speech is like they misspelled the disclaimer. Hate speech. It meant to be free speech. I think they did, but you see, hate speech is a very Orwellian word. It means almost anything you want it to mean, and it could refer to something completely innocuous. For example, saying it's okay to be white is now. Have you seen the fuss being made about the people putting up stickers saying it's okay to be white? I'm thinking of putting up a few myself. It's just like that people are going nuts about it. But it's one of the most harmless things imaginable. You know, as somebody actually put up a sign in a phone box in London saying it's okay to be black, and well, no one disagrees with that. Very few. But if you say it's okay to be white, it's suddenly evil. And this is one of these kind of like weird. I mean, the whole it's okay to be white meme was simply put up there simply to expose this kind of thing, expose this ridiculousness, this double standard, this insanity, this clown world delusion. Keith Skegwin. I remember a guy called Keith Chegwin used to be on TV. Do you remember him? He died a little while ago. I just did a test. I typed in tragic street preachers, the exact title of a richplanet.net documentary. The only video with this title was about 40th down the list. We're living in 30s Germany. Well, that's very interesting, Keith, considering what Joe Tuber was saying, because he was just saying how the Rich Planet videos actually did very well, because not because of their content, because of their stylistic production. But you're now saying that if you search for tragic street preachers, you have to go 40 videos down. That's interesting, isn't it? Because that contradicts what Joe Tuber said. I mean, I know very well that the documentary you were talking about is where Richard and his friend, who used to know the guy who died. Oh God, what's his name? The guy who's supposed to have jumped off the bridge. His body was never found. They went searching for him because there's always been a rumor that he's still alive. I mean, he wouldn't be the first rock star to be dead or supposedly dead, and he's actually really still alive somewhere. But it's a very interesting documentary that there is actual distinct reason to believe this guy might still be alive. Oh, what's his bloody name? Hang on. Mannix. What's his bloody name? Oh, bloody hell. I'm just going to look it up. Oh, it's because he's really Richie Edwards. Richie Edwards, who supposedly, says, yeah, Richard James Edwards, disappeared 1st of February 1995, a long time ago now. He disappeared, yeah. So the idea is that somehow that this guy jumped off the Severn Bridge and was never seen. His car was parked at one end. He never came off that bridge. People said, oh, he just jumped in the river and drowned. Yeah, it's a very interesting documentary, but yeah, it's 40 videos down, even when you put in the exact title. How about that? BZ Garsons said, it says, we're living in 30s Germany. No, we're not. You're a very silly boy, says BZ Garden. Oh, really, BZ? No argument there, eh? No argument, as usual. And Keith says to BZ, okay, BZ Garden, fair enough, but such shadow banning is perhaps not as blatant and extreme as the tactics used by Goebbels, but not a million miles away. Well, Keith, Goebbels didn't have the technology we have today. If he had, he would have used it. I mean, this is the point George Orwell made, because the 1984 is slightly science fictional because they include things such as the telescreens, which are these television sets which also have a camera on them. Now, TV sets weren't used very much in the time. Orwell wrote the book in the late 1940s, when TV was there, but it was not widely used. But in his world, there was a TV in every room and it had a camera on it. Now, what are smart TVs? They have cameras on it that watch you. And Keith also says under that, I have lived in China for 10 years. The UK just adopts a different version of the same thing. Well, China, Keith, is one of the most if not the most Orwellian nation on earth, because they have things such as the social credit system, mass surveillance. They use RFID chips and all kinds of things that are available technology, and they're extremely authoritarian and they're quite open with it. And believe it or not, I believe that they are essentially showing the way for other countries. Keith also says, and we're leaving this thread now. Okay, on to another one. Keith has actually put another comment on the same video, and it goes, where is it? Come on, here we go. Here we go. Right, same video. Yeah, maybe the unknown viewers are Nutroiz, Nutroiz. I don't know what that means. Sorry, Keith. Keith also says on the same video, Love HPANWO. Any Welsh links, Emlyn? Also, is that the gay alien of Gateshead in the background? Oh, right. Oh, thank you, Keith. I'm glad you love HPANWO. I'm glad you like HPANWO TV. You get a love heart for that. As for links, Ben, Emlyn-Jones. I couldn't be Scottish with a name like Emlyn-Jones, could I? The gay alien of Gateshead is actually, his name is actually Russell, and he's a grey that was actually genetically engineered in Area 51, and in fact he's the second Russell. He's the same soul occupying the second body because the first one died. Well, what happened was I sat on him and there was a plate and things underneath with a fork on, and it popped him, he burst, so I had to call Area 51 and get him to clone another one. So yeah, that is Russell. That is good old Russell. The name Russell comes from a song by the Black Goo, a band that talk about, they got a song called The Space Bar which talks about this. Keith says as well on the same video, all news channels should be demonetized on this basis. All they report is fear, hate and war. Yes, yeah, do. I mean, yeah, I'll go. But they won't demonetize. They will never ever take any action against the mainstream news because that's real news as opposed to fake news. Richie Allen is demonetized. Well, yeah, he got banned for a while as well. But I still have to watch ads when viewing his vids. How does that work? Oh, that is really annoying, isn't it? That pisses me off no end. They demonetize your videos, and indeed they'll mark your channel and your channel is demonetized. But they'll keep running ads on them, won't they? They'll keep running the bloody ads for themselves. When they say this is inappropriate content and our advertisers don't like it. No, your bloody advertisers don't like the user benefiting from it, but YouTube benefit from it, don't they? Absolute bastards, absolute scum. It's disgusting. I mean, I actually what I've done is I've checked my channel. My channel's not available for monetization anymore, but to be honest, I've never monetized it. There are ads on some of my videos, but they come from third-party copyright strikes. BZ Garson says underneath, YouTube takes all the ad revenue regardless of whether the channel is demonetized. In other words, they still show ads. They do indeed, but this lies in the face of their principle, you know, their pearl clutching outrage that, oh my goodness me, this person is politically incorrect, we have to demonetize them so that they don't benefit from the ads. The advertisers don't have to suffer in the way they do by having their ads on such disgusting content. But we want to. But you might just keep running the ads. We're going to run them anyway because we want the money. Yeah. Absolute two-faced bastards. They've had their super monopoly for too long. They really have. Flappy Hands says on Shadowbanned by YouTube, I always search for you, as although I have notifications on for your channel, I never get a notification on your new vids. That is interesting, Flappy Hands. By the way, thanks for subscribing and clicking the bell. But you know what? This is another common occurrence which comes under the realm of shadow banning, which is where you sub to someone and you click the bell and you then don't get the notification you want. And it's always certain channels. It's always these dodgy channels, isn't it? Always them. And not only that, some people get unsubbed. They get unsubbed from a channel. They suddenly look back and they remember, oh, I subscribed to him, but I'm not subscribed anymore, and they have to resubscribe. So they've been unsubscribed by the YouTube system to keep the subs down on those channels. Like I said, when disreputable people have a super monopoly like this is what happens. This is what I say, long live BitChute. Long live alternative platforms. Long live Internet too. iMacy says on Shadowbanned by YouTube, stop the New World Order. You stop it indeed, iMacy. Yes, stop it indeed. Let's stop it, definitely. Gary Robinson says on Shadowbanned by YouTube, I always find it suspicious that the amount of subscribers for the Kev Baker show never gets above 90,000. He's had around that amount for years. Yeah, I mean, I wonder, because what happens is if you create a channel and you readily upload, your sub count should go up. It should go up. People say, oh well, you always get these snide people who say, well, they're obviously not very good because their sub count has leveled off. No, it doesn't matter. You will get extra subs if you regularly upload content. Why is Kev's hit a ceiling? I wonder if mine will hit a ceiling. I'm on about 7,500 now. I wonder if how much higher it will get. And again, if people are being unsubbed, like this person did, Flappy Hands, maybe this is the reason, is it? Maybe that's it. Right, the Lapis Conference. David Walker says, around the 3-hour 44-minute mark, there appears to be a large orb that flies past you, pal. Enjoy the video. Yeah, thanks. Someone else noticed that, and it's very interesting. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, David. I really am. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So thank you very much. I don't honestly know. I'll give you a love heart there. I don't honestly know what that is. It's impossible to say. Unfortunately, like a lot of these things, it's not possible to say. Right, Time and the Langoliers. This is an old one, and it's Slaxer. It's Slaxer Asnada. Hi, Slaxer. How are you? This is actually a video. She's saying, "Is this near Botley?" No, this is actually the same place I filmed my Megtown video. It's under the bridge leading to the works. It's actually not a disused bridge. You get about one train a day that goes over there, that heads from the main line to the Cowley Car Factory. But it's actually Kennington, not Botley, and I explain this here to Slacks, and he says, "Oh, looks like the area near us." Yeah, yeah. But actually, it was actually Slaxer himself who gave me the idea for this video, because he mentions a film called The Langoliers, which is based on a Stephen King novel, and I suddenly remembered seeing it years ago and being fascinated by it. So I watched it again, and it is really good. It's really, really interesting. And it gave me the idea to make this video, Time of the Langoliers. So thank you very much, Slaxer. You inspired me to make this video, and it's a really old one too. It's from long ago. Shadow banned by YouTube. Patrick Patel says on shadow banned by YouTube. Ben, it really scares me that we're living in the Orwellian dystopian world. Yeah, me too, Patrick. It's so depressing to think shadow banning is increasingly becoming such a standard condition. Yeah. However, I loved your opening singing speech. Ha, you crack me up, especially every time when you make a reference to the mumble guy. Oh, thank you very much, Patrick. You know what? I'm glad you enjoyed that. The singing, right? There's a story behind the singing. When I opened the singing, it's because on my first video about YouTube censorship, I was responding to a time when I actually played a snatch of music in one of my videos, and I got a third-party strike. And so I was making a joke to say, this is me singing in the bath, or me singing myself. Let someone put a copyright strike on this, because the third-party strike I got was actually a false one. It was from a tune that was in the public domain. I did appeal it. My appeal was sustained, luckily. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. And so all my YouTube censorship videos are like that now. Rachel's Eyes review. Contact Times. Hi, Contact Times. Good to hear from you again. Contact Times is actually one of these professional paranormal people. And they said, not an often referenced book, Ben, so good to see it get some attention again. Yeah, it's quite old now. I think it's a few years old now, Contact. It was quite big at the time, but I've reread it to review it, because I think it's so good. They carry on. I read it about 2009 and interviewed the writer, not the surrogate mother, the writer. I think they had the same press agents as Jim Sparks' publisher, and she managed to get me in touch. All right, Jim Sparks, I know him. Yeah, grab me if on Skype next week or so, as we have an idea in relation to this. See you next time. David, are you? Oh my goodness! Oh, I don't think I should say any more, actually, but I actually know this person. It's someone I know, so I just suddenly realised who it is. All right, blimey. Crafty Nihilist says on Shadow banned by YouTube. That's good news. The good news is that we're literally just talking about making a video about a tape measure. Oh right, yeah. I think I saw that. Yeah, I did. And the Crafty Nihilist also says on the Lapis conference, we just found a Mandela effect when looking up the lyrics to the Matchstick Men and Matchstick Cats and Dogs for our ridiculous video. Apparently now it's Matchstalk Men and Matchstalk Cats and Dogs. Absolutely. Yeah. There's some. I don't know who it was who wrote the song, but it was a song about a painter called W.S. Lowry, who was famous for their style. They used to paint lots of scenes around Manchester, and there were human figures in it that were basically stick men. And despite their rather this sort of like Dadaist kind of style, Lowry became very famous and became successful. Had a lot of exhibitions, and there's this song about him, written about him. Yeah. Right. So Stephen Criddle, proper paranormal, says on ASAP Seriously Strange. Another old one. What's this thing? Bloody hell! Right.
I've got to make a video.
All right. This is Stephen Criddle again. I do sub to him, and he's been to the ASAP thing too. All right.
Because I remember last night.
It's always interesting to compare notes with you, Stephen. It really is. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay. Okay, still ill. This is another video I made. I've not had a comment on there yet for a while. Ed Kaler says, "Did you find a way to undo the spell?" Partly, Ed. I have. I've actually recovered from some of the problems I've recovered from, like the sciatica has eased off. I've gone back several other times to have more healing at the Spiritualist Church, and as always, it has improved. There are some other problems I'm still having. And I'm working. Hopefully, I'm working on that. I feel a lot better than I did when I made that video. I really am. Shadow banned by YouTube. Nothing as it seems says, Ben. I put up a comment on Ben Davidson's Suspicious Observers, and got a quick reply. My comment was, "No fear, really." Quote unquote. Sorry, quote, "No fear, really. The Earth is tipping 90 degrees. Nothing to see here, folks. Keep moving." And Ben's response was, "Dead on balls accurate. Awareness and fear are different. One inspires, the other is a thief." Your thoughts? All right. Ben Davidson, Suspicious Observers. I don't know that channel. The Earth is tipping 90 degrees. Nothing. Right. Is the Earth tipping? The Earth is tipping 90 degrees. Ben's response was, "Dead on balls accurate. Awareness and fear are different. One inspires, the other is a thief." Right, I don't know what you're referring to in the first part of your comment, but awareness and fear, one inspires, the other is a thief. Yes, I agree. Totally. Fear is, there are things to be afraid of in this world, but you can't be nihilistic and too black pilling, otherwise people go into future shock and they just give up. Lapis 2019 Snarnock, hi Snarnock, says, "I thoroughly enjoyed watching this video, Ben. Why don't you take Evans land to sell when you have a stall at these conferences?" Oh, well, thank you, Snarnock. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'll give you a love heart for that. Thank you very much. I don't have any Evans lands left, unfortunately. I've got one left which I want to keep for myself. But I don't. Evans Land, unfortunately, is sold out. There are still a few. If you want a copy, there's still a few floating around online for £86 or something. But what I'm going to hopefully do is get it uploaded digitally, put it on Ben's bookcase. To be honest, it was my first novel. I look back on it now and I find it a bit embarrassing. It's not really what I was used to. It's not really as good as my later stuff. This is a common thing with writers. A lot of writers sort of like denounce their early period when they get better at writing. But I'm glad you enjoyed the video. I did actually sell Evans Land. I sold the last of my Evans Land on that stall, so that's it anyway. And Snarnock says in the same video, "Did the full English breakfast include black pudding?" No, it didn't. It didn't actually. Not at the hotel. It didn't. Oh, do you mean the Witherspoons or the hotel? Because at the hotel it didn't. Oh, and that is another hour gone. So take another break. I'll get something to eat actually as well. But just to let you know, Ed Kaler says underneath that, "Why do you ask?" I don't know. Why do you ask, Snarnock? Is it because if it doesn't have black pudding, it's not a full English breakfast? Is that it? Because some people will claim there's sort of like there are certain criteria that has to be fulfilled before you can say that something is a full English breakfast. It has to have this and that and the other. Otherwise, it's not a full English breakfast. Does that mean I can sue the? Can I sue the hotel? Can I get £50,000 off them and force them to alter their menu so it says a new English flavoured breakfast? Alright, I'll see you later, guys.